I reckon Matthew Clark is going to provide him with a real big test in the middle of the ground, and that midfield of the Crows so very dangerous.
By his standards, I think it was quite a good game last week,
true.
but you're right, he will be tested by better opposition today. Umpires today, Ray Kelsey, David Corcoran and Martin Ellis. First bounce underway, McKernan, Clark over the top, no real winner. Very scrappy start. You see Gallagher getting the first handball out to the old stager. Bradley kicks up, attacking 50. Free kick off the ball a little bit, and it'll go Adelaide's way. Their defensive end of the ground.
Stingline just takes some time. Bode. Sorry, Gary.
Yeah, it's picked up Lappin, which says they rate Lappin so very highly. Stingline, their best tagger.
Bode long, looking for Rashudo. Early touch against McKay. That's going to be a good battle. McKay acting captain for the Blues. Rashudo called to get on with it. Long. Burton started at full forward. They fly. McKernan, big leap. Goodwin, Crum, Welsh, known goal kicker, strolls in, kicks the opener.
Great start for the Adelaide Crows. I spoke to Gary Ayres prior to the game. He said that the key to this is getting off to a good start. And they've got a good contest. Their forward set up. They've got Burton in the goal square. Rashudo playing across half forward. Also Stevens. And they do get a contest here. Stevens didn't do much. Goodwin got to the right spot. And Shell started the game beautifully. So, terrific start. Couldn't want for a better start, the Adelaide Crows.
Scott Welsh, coming off a 5-goal game last week, kicks the first in the first minute of play here today. Superb surface off this oval. Clark, Gallagher, Camporelli in the middle. And Goodwin, the tackler there, will have a ball up just forward of centre, favouring the Carlton, favouring the Adelaide end. Of course, the Legend stand end, left of screen. There you can see the head-to-heads. Hasn't been happy hunting for the Crows here at Optus Oval. Clark getting the front body position. Knocks out. Bode got on the end of it. Advanced it forward. Bit of a chase here for Rashudo. McKay, the acting captain for the Blues today, in the absence of Brett Ratton. Got a bit of a shove. Rightly no free kick. Boundary throw in right in front of that Legend stand.
Ben Hart got the job on Ryan Houlihan, who was so impressive last week. Stingline on Lappin, as we mentioned.
Ball back into play. Clark against McKernan. Bickley couldn't get the ball onto his boot. Eccles against his old club. Ball shoveled out to Rashudo. In tight. Clark gets the kick inside 50. Up flies Burton. And they'd like to see a bit more of that from the Birdman.
Good spot for Brett Burton to play. I think a bit like the Whitnell situation. He will win the footy. He will mark the ball. Why not have him doing it close enough to goal so he can have a few shots rather than getting footy up along the wing where it's 2 and 3 kicks away. I really like the move of starting him out of the goal square.
So we've got captain on captain, McKay on Rashudo, and Camporelli against McLeod. We'll keep an eye on that one. All eyes though on Brett Burton. Tucked into the boundary line. Goes for a high one across the face. Big leap. Bassett. Unbelievable mark by a man who's normally down the other end.
Well, he is down the other end. He's playing on Trent Houghton at the moment across half back and floated down as the play unfolded on the opposite side of the ground. And that is a terrific leap. That's a quality mark. And we saw him kick some goals late in the piece at Colonial Stadium a couple of weeks ago.
Tough angle. Only kicked 7 career goals. Lines up and threads it. First 2 to Adelaide.
Is back. Game over.
Nathan Bassett kicking the second Adelaide goal. Inside 4, Bode. Got a piece of it. Quick hands. Good vision. Bickley. Got boot on it. All he can do is advance it forward. Rashudo, clever. Onto the man that can cut to up McLeod. And Burton the resultant mark. Don't play on from there. Go back, take your time, and kick the goal.
Out of the middle again, terrific use of the footy. Rashudo involved. He's effectively playing centre-half forward, Mark Rashudo, and you know you're going to get a great contest. I think Andrew McLeod and Craig Bradley are the direct opponents at the moment. Maybe Camporelli tries to get onto McLeod, but I think you'll find those two are running together.
Get a good look at this. There'll be a bit of right to left about this kick, you would think, today. Kick on its way. Adelaide, Gary Ayres has got the start he wanted. 3 goals, Crows.
Terrific start. Brett Burton. Well, we hear lots of stories about Brett Burton and his athleticism and his ability to run long distances so very well, but he covers the ground beautifully. He jumps so well at the football. That was great work from Rashudo to get it to McLeod, and if you can give him some space, well, inevitably another Adelaide player ends up with a footy. So just a dream start at the moment. Carlton have, well, they've got to get the scoreboard.
It was round 4 last year that Carlton came to Optus Oval. The Blues facing Adelaide at Optus Oval, I should say, and Adelaide had not won a game until they came here and won against the odds. Murphy gets a takeaway at long last. Free ball, just overruns it slightly. Lappin through traffic. Handballs wide Bradley. Can he swoop on it? Not too sure that old leg can kick 65 anymore. He lines up, loads up, goes long. Goal square, Smart, Whitnell, off hands, or behind.
Luke Livingston is the player that's playing out of the goal square, full forward effectively for the Carlton team. And Nigel Smart, the job on Lance Whitnell.
233 gamer. Ben Hart kicking a beautiful ball down the middle that set up the McLeod. He got through heavy traffic. Bickley, Rashudo, the old campaigners combining there. Eventually Fletcher of the Blues across half-back, cuts the ball off. Out towards Camporelli. You can see the thigh guard that Dr. Peter Larkin spoke about. A big corky last week, lucky to play this week. And we've got the boundary throw in centre wing.
Some familiarity about that passage. Hart, Bickley, Rashudo and McLeod all involved.
McKernan in the ruck, pushes Clark away, gets the takeaway. High. Whitnell, half forward, Smart, 5th on ball. Edwards, away from Freeborn well. Half-back flank, spearing ball, Johnson. Quick movement of the ball, Bickley. Gets away from Houlihan, long, half forward. Christou gets the punch on it, almost gives away a free. Adelaide Crows numbers, they might mess it up between them. McKay gets a hand on the ball. Captain's performance there. Takes it out of play.
See, that's an interesting one because the umpire looked at the ball on the ground, saw it was McLeod and Rashudo, and made a decision that it was advantage without them actually getting the ball in their hands. So he's almost assuming that they're going to pick it up. But when he didn't, is that an advantage then?
Well, they got a bad bounce as well. I think the umpire assumed too much there, and perhaps the advantage rule was not played correctly there because there was none in the end. Boundary throw in, attacking 50 Crows. Murphy overruns it. Time to do the good work. Mansfield under the hammer, always. Ray Kelsey says he'll ball it up 60 metres from the Adelaide goal. Here it is. The tackle there by Rashudo on Mansfield. And that's what his younger players in the side would like to see the skipper doing. He's very good at it. Clark, Camporelli thrown to the ground for the 2nd or 3rd time in the game already. Beautiful Melbourne autumn day here today. On top of a sensationally prepared Optus Oval. Clark. Camporelli knockout. Dowdy got it. Just thumps it long. No hesitation. Burton had the set. Got a bit of a nudge from behind from Beaumont. He recovers well. Leads the chase. World Cup action. Missed. Out of bounds on the full.
See, Andrew McLeod, that looks like they're just going to try and go head-to-head with him. I think that's a recipe for disaster for the Blues.
Manton across defensive goal to Christou and back to Manton. Champagne football from Manton. After his performance on Thursday night. Chips it wide. Murphy, half-back flank. Carlton tried to take it from defence. Eccles under immense pressure. Good pressure from Bode here on Houghton. Takes it out of play.
Yeah, they look sluggish, Carlton, at the moment, don't they?
Well, 6-1 inside 50 at the moment. All of the attacking going Adelaide's way. They're sluggish. I think Adelaide looked pretty sharp today.
There's the bench. Sam Cranage, Jimmy Plunkett there, among others.
It's a young bench, isn't it?
Justin Davies. Houghton doing the ruck work. Fast hands. Murphy. Camporelli set loose. First time in the game. Advances at some 30 metres. Enormous pressure. Stenglein did well. And will receive the free kick. Stenglein wide. Crows doing all the attacking in the opening 10 minutes of this quarter. Kane Johnson, the dual premiership player for the Crows, bangs it inside 50. Up they fly, no winner in the air. Mackay, first to arrive. Camporelli just starting to find his feet now. Mackay got the handball out under enormous pressure. The bump as well. Handball over the top, Freeborn. Inside 50, just the second time in this game. Crows too strong defence. Bode.
Trying to work it wide. They've used that wing well. Hart, smart. And now Bickley. Gee, they've got some very cool heads and some great experience. The Adelaide Crows long towards half forward. McLeod, can he swoop on this? Gallagher, his old teammate, comes at him. Central ball, top of the square. Mansfield caught. Beaumont about to get caught. Gets it away to Manton. A defensive behind.
Shell-shocked, really, Carlton. They had numbers with Glenn Manton on that occasion, but they opted to try and buy themselves a bit of time. The Camporelli looks like he might be going with McLeod now and trying to tighten up on him. Thought it was Bradley early. He got a massive cork last week, Scott Camporelli, and I know he's brave and he's come up, but gee, if he can get through this game at his usual effectiveness, it'll be a super effort.
Christou, Camporelli combining. Back to Christou. I notice Whitnell's come all the way down to the centre of the ground. He wants to get himself into the action. Nothing offering deep at the moment. And another opportunity that won't go Carlton's way. Clark right in front of the scoreboard here. Optus kick. Walsh on the lead. Free kick. Correct call by umpire Ray Kelsey against Ange Christou. And Walsh will line up, I reckon, almost within range because he'll have a bit of breeze coming over his right shoulder.
Got winning forwards all over the place. Adelaide, they're winning the footy, and that's a great sign. It makes the Carlton defence, their confidence will be a bit rattled, a bit shaken. And that's why Ange Christou takes his eyes off the ball in that situation and hasn't got the confidence just to go at it.
Carlton have only won 2 first quarters for the year. 2 first quarters for the year, and they're not going to win this one, I don't think. Walsh lining up for his second goal of the game. It's a floater. There's a bit of left to right about it. Mark has been taken right on the line by Stevens.
It's in Adelaide on Friday night, and read the local papers, of course, and this fella's been under a little bit of pressure over there. Mark Stevens, runner-up last year in the best and fairest, and they've opted to stay with him forward. Some speculation that maybe he should be played back, but he stayed up forward here, and it would be a terrific start to his game. They've taken 4 contested marks.
Have a look at this, Gary. He's very close to the man on the mark, which indicates he will run around and snap. He does it very well. Professional approach. Made the goal look easy in the end. 4 straight Adelaide.
The Duracell Alkaline Battery, long-lasting with lots of bite. Duracell Copper Top, long-lasting alkaline.
The Crows are literally flying. Good start. McKernan up in the ruck with Bode the takeaway to Goodwin. Here they go again. Inside 50. Bouncing ball. Chance for Shell. Got the handball out. Bickley's direction. Looking back for Bode again. It's away from Christou. Tackles him now. Stevens. Murphy, Houghton, caught, boundary line, the sanctuary for the Blues. It'll be a ball in.
Getting smashed out of the middle at the moment, the Blues. In the round at the stoppages.
Massey, Nelson, Johncock and Biglands, the bench for Adelaide. And the way they've started, the boys might not get a run for a while. Back into play. Bickley over the ball. Houghton there too. Bradley steals it. Game number 365 for Bradley to Camporelli, his workmate. Can't get it away. Houghton still inside defensive 50, the Blues. Bickley lays it off. Johnson caught. Gets the handball away. High bomb to the goal square. And another free kick perhaps. It goes against the Crows. It goes to the Blues. Manton last line of defence.
Plays on, Beaumont running in support. Short kick didn't travel 15. Surely not. Free ball is marked. Umpire said it did. Very lucky let off there for the Blues because he was under pressure as well. Kick is short, Murphy. Got a bit of time. Drills it long. McKernan, the target. Thump away from him. Clark was good. Ball at ground level. Crows just go forward again. Blues can't get it past their half-forward line. The skipper, Prosciutto, told to play on. Drives it to the hot zone. Got a bit of a jump of it, Stevens. Houghton went up and took a very nice mark in the end.
That's a great grab. Great grab from Trent Houghton.
Camporelli under a little pressure. Now Beaumont is. No, it's Gallagher. Ball bounced kindly for him. He goes wide. Christou. Half-back flank. Burton does the chasing. Ange gets the kick long. Taking the mark. Beautiful pass to Davies. And they're away now, the Blues. Spearing ball towards Whitnell. Smart with him. Whitnell slips. Smart keeps his feet. Hart. They combine so well together. Have an understanding. They know where each other always is. And Bassett sees the ball just elude him and out of play on the outer wing. But the Crows still in control halfway through this opening term.
It tells a story, the Clangers, and they are rebounding out of their 50 because it's spending so much time in there at the moment, Carlton.
Gary Ayres and John Reid in the visitors' box here. Nat Optus, free kick's been paid. Advantage for the Blues. Camporelli, Whitnell. First touch, diving mark. Too far out to score. Camporelli starting to run the lines now. Delivery excellent to McKernan on the lead. And McKernan will line up 30 metres in front of him. First time they've gone forward with any sort of authority. And not coincidentally, it was Scott Camporelli who's got involved in it. He's been very, very good early in the piece. And really, they've just got to find a way forward. You called it correctly, Brian. They were getting smashed across their half-forward line. And if they need to come inside, perhaps chip the footy around a little bit more. There's the second most accurate set shot kick for goal of those that kicked 25 goals or more last year. Believe it or not, Corey McKernan. 35 metres out. And that is a miss way right. Carlton yet to register a goal, and we've played some 17 minutes in this first quarter.
Hart entrusted with a kick in from fullback. Short down the corridor dangerously, but a precise pass in the end to Bickley. It's called to play on, goes wide. Edwards, back pocket in the shadows of the Carlton Social Club, where the natives will be a little restless at the moment. Shortish pass, Stengline, lays off the Smart, back into the corridor with confidence. Goodwin couldn't take the mark. Front and square. McLeod, perfect place. Another perfect handball. The running Hart kicks long inside 50. Burton caught by Christou. Prosciutto just couldn't find the handle. Stevens, handball backwards. They're working it around. Oh, check side kick off the side of the boot by Burton. Mark, last line of defence. Carlton will get away with it. Whitnell, Gallagher, and now Lappin all the way down to half-back. High. McKernan, good mark on the wing.
Really set himself in and had to, because Whitnell was the player that marked it on the last line of defence for Carlton, and McKernan was the only target that Carlton had.
Strong hands, just a couple of touches for Corey, but certainly playing with more purpose. McKay moving forward, kick is long. Houlihan there. Got to pay the man in front, Hart, surely. Davies not happy, but that's the correct decision. Hart short over the top. Well, Carlton talk about it with the umpire. The Crows are away. Bickley, the former skipper, to the current skipper, Prosciutto. Marking very close to the boundary line. 5 touches already for the skipper.
Nothing on at the moment. Plenty of Carlton numbers across half-back now. They need a target. That's why he's taking so much time.
Desperate to get it to hot zone. He's got a player on in the middle, but it would be a risky kick. So he takes a bit of each. Looking for Stevens. Front position. Well done, Beaumont. Fletcher was desperate in front of Goodwin, and he saw it to the safety of the boundary.
Fletcher has got the job on Simon Goodwin, hasn't left his side, and he's doing it okay at the moment. Goodwin just had 3 touches.
On attacking 50 for the Crows. Houghton to do the ruck work, just edges Clark under the ball. Bradley, central kick. Crows at the numbers. Edwards swoops. Smart receives wide. McLeod again, getting a bit of it early. Having another spectacular year. Stengline inside 50. They could have raffled it, the Three Crows. Stevens was there, waiting. So too was Bickley. Stingline will kick it goal. 5 possessions for McLeod. So getting away from Camporelli a little.
Well, it's Camporelli and at times it's Bradley. They sort of swap between the two of them during the course of play. So it's they've got to maybe I think they've got to assign one. You can't be in any doubt as to who is on Andrew McLeod.
Tyson Stingline, he got a little upset at the best and fairest count last year when he had his votes read out as Justin Stingline, but has forgiven them. And a chance to give the Crows an unbelievable start, and that looks a gem of a kick off the boot, straight through the middle.
I finished school. I'm doing a Bachelor of Arts. I really like challenging myself, and it's also good just to help out. So I thought, yeah, I'll try the Army Reserves. A weekend would be, you might do bush skills, and I just finished a course where we did forward driving, and we take these vehicles anywhere they can go. I never thought I'd be able to do that. I think it's probably made me more confident, and it's good fun.
Adelaide by 29 points at the 21-minute mark of this first term. Clark, beautiful palm down and the clearance to go with it. Through Beckley, bombed it long to the square. Burton couldn't mark. It's up to the ground level players. Goodwin, Rashudo, sold the dummy, runs to an open goal. 6 straight, the Adelaide Crows.
This is exciting footy. This is great footy, and it started in the centre square. The tap out from Clark to Bickley was absolutely outstanding. And look at this. They are playing uncomplicated football, Adelaide. They're winning the possession or winning the ball in the middle of the ground, and they've got 2 taller forwards there. You see them both, Shell and Burton, that are situated in the goal square. The rest are up across half forward, and the tactic is simple. Let's punch it in there as quickly as we can and get to the crumb.
Adelaide Crows about to post their best first quarter ever. So goes Carlton. Free kick off the ball, and the Blues might get a gimme.
Well, it's the only way they're going to get one. I've got to tell you, it is ugly at the moment from a Carlton point of view. Here it is, off the footy. This is great camera work here.
Nonsense.
How is that a free?
That is a pathetic free kick.
That is just interfering with the game unnecessarily.
Umpire Ray Kelsey just ensuring that he will be able to get out of the car park without any hassles this afternoon. Whitnell lines up, and the Blues get given a goal.
I'll just look that up for you. Yes, I can help you with that. Yeah.
Straight! For a great lineup of communication services, choose Primus Telecom.
Well, Carlton have got their first goal under dubious circumstances. A very doubtful free kick. In fact, it wasn't. Houghton, palm down, Camporelli. What's the match-up with him and McLeod today? Freeborn, Fletcher will chase it down, drive it forward. Looking for Whitnell again. He'll get another free kick because Smart went a long way too early.
He's a smart player, Lance Whitnell. He knew he had no chance of marking that, so he thought the next best thing I can do is draw a free kick.
Wide to Bradley. He's able to run in front of the Carlton Social Club. Would bring the stand down. Missed. Just it across the face. Craig Bradley. 6 first quarter goals for the Adelaide Crows.
And here he's just drawn a free kick. Like, that's just smart footy. That's being aware of what's going on around you.
Very unsmart as well to take that kind of leap in defence and give away a free. Now again the Blues a chance. Gallagher can't beat Johnson, who took a good mark at halfback. His 6th possession. The game just causing a little bit of spice to be added to it after the incidents of the last minute and a half. On the wing, Rashido was there. Beaumont, kick smothered well, gathered again, wobbles it to half forward. Davies, Edwards, well played Edwards, great tackle Davies. Edwards handed a bow. They'll get away with it. Johnson high, Welsh, the big spoil on the wing. Once again, players getting wrapped up in big tackles. Stevens to Welsh, shrugs a tackle on the wing, dances through traffic beautifully. Clark, Risciuto, good football. Adelaide, back to Bode. Can he get through? He can. Plenty of holes in this Blues defence. Burton.
That is great football by Adelaide and great support. They run in numbers and support. A couple of times there you just thought they're in trouble. They're going to get tackled in the process here. But Risciuto's got support in Bode. He dances around. They've got quick hands. They're playing really confident footy. And again, the setup up forward is working an absolute treat.
Brett Burton has already kicked one. Can't bring this back enough. Just through for a behind. Hit the outside of the post. Something going Carlton's way.
I think the two Carlton defenders that are going man-on-man in the goal square with those two tall forwards, one of them's got to take a bit of a risk and play 10 or 15 metres out in front because they've taken 5 marks inside 50 Adelaide. Carlton have only taken 1, so they've just got to spread themselves a bit, those two defenders.
Yep, they've tailed them up, the Adelaide Crows, as Christou plays on from full-back. They've looked silky smooth going forward. Big mark taken there by McKernan, so a great sign. He's got a couple of contested marks to his names already. Camporelli over the top, starting to bust loose. Look at the ball. Presented to Mansfield. Looks to get back onto his dominant foot. Unselfishly to Fletcher. And Fletcher is marked directly in front. 35 to 40 metres out.
Well, it's just a direct result of someone's loose marking, I would have thought, in the zone that Adelaide's defence employed, because Michael Mansfield was able to slip out the back and get 30 or 40 metres on any opponent. So just a little slip up. And I tell you that when the emotions come into this game after the Whitnell thing, it's when Carlton have looked better.
Chance for consecutive goals for the Blues for the first time in this first quarter, as Fletcher has missed to the right-hand side.
Because the game was just rolling along beautifully from Adelaide's point of view, and Carlton didn't look like, but all of a sudden they've just got a little bit of emotion into their game.
Bradley. Big leap over the top, gathered it on 50. He's kicked 100 of these at least this year at training. Can't kick it now. Off hands. Davies can't grab it. Stengline poised. Edwards caught. Off hands. Still a chance. Nelson. Bode. Out of bounds on the full. Free kick Blues.
Free kick back for too high. It's going to go to Matthew Bode. Cranage just was a little bit too enthusiastic.
Yes, it was a desperate passage of play by the Carlton forward lines, and that emotion you talked about, Gary, is exactly what the Carlton box would have liked in that passage of play, even though in the end it didn't go their way. Bode in his 39th senior appearance today, kicks out wide, picked up by Stevens. Little ship kick over the shoulder. Bradley arrives. You can see the skills there of Craig Bradley. Kick inboard. Pushed away Kane Johnson. Stevens butters up. Dowdy back to Kane Johnson. Tight on the boundary line. He's got time though for a deliberate kick. Perry got on the end of it. Did wonderfully well to control a hard ball. Onto the running McLeod. Hasn't got the journey, but got the sit at the back was the Birdman. Burton couldn't hold it. Off hands. And another minor score to the Adelaide Crows, leading it comfortably in this first quarter.
Bradley's had 9 touches. Camporelli's had 7. And then McLeod's had 5 and Bickley's had 9. So it's pretty much as you are in the middle of the ground. Off you go, win your possessions and see what you can do with them.
Camporelli received from Ange Christou, but hasn't really got any free targets to kick to. Goes long. McKernan rises from behind. Doesn't bring the mark down, but Bradley playing superbly against his old team from his old state. Plunkett. High bomb towards full forward, getting back hard. Couldn't bring the mark down. Davies. Ball not clear. Off the deck towards Edwards. Defensive 50. Bode knocked down behind play. Edwards allowed to play onto advantage. Clark. 60 from goal. Johnson. Nelson. Towards Risciuto, 2 to beat. Can't pick them both. Stevens and McKay. Boundary line close. Doughty. Ball almost taken out by Gallagher. Kept it in, according to the boundary umpire. Murphy, half-back flank.
Did it well. You could see McLeod coming. He was able to get his body in the right spot for his 6-touch. Beaumont That's not a good effort. High ball, always under pressure. Bowe did well. Murphy was the front and centre player. Bradley couldn't hold the finger tipper. Edwards burst through with enthusiasm and vigour. Spots up and finds Bode wide. Carlton have won just 2 first quarters for the year. They've had 27 goals total kicked against them in first quarters, and they've kicked 18 themselves. 8 touch for Bode, who's been a significant contributor.
Well, he's got Bradley effectively at the moment. They haven't been within 50 metres of each other in the past 5 minutes.
Stevens to the dangerous corridor where Hart and Smart have both come down from defence. Now running the midfield. Presentation, Burton would have been an absolute ripper. Spills to Welsh. Welsh could kick his second. Siren sounds. Siren sounds. What a quarter for the Adelaide Crows. 6-3-39 to Carlton 1-4-10. And that was a ripping quarter of football.
The best quarter ever by the Adelaide Crows against Carlton. Best first quarter.
Well, they played some wonderful football, and I think the coaching staff are to be congratulated with the way they structured things, but I just don't think it's quite over. I think Carlton just so slow getting out of the blocks that I think they aren't that bad, and they started to find some footy. So quarter time here at Optus Oval. It's the Crows with a great start. 6-3-39, Carlton 1-4-10. We'll be back with the second quarter. You're watching AFL Sunday.
Line with one of the world's worst safety records suffers another catastrophe, this time off Taiwan, and 7 people wounded when a gunman opens fire at a Sydney wedding reception.
Almost 20 k's over the speed limit.
40-ton missiles.
118.
And 115.
Making a mockery of the speed limit time and time again.
The speed limiters have been tampered with.
Nissan presents a Current Affair Monday.
If there's one thing the big crowds love about Truscott Hi-Fi, it's their low prices. LG 68cm stereo TVs with teletext, $100 off. Pioneer DVD players with 5 free movies, $50 off. Sony 560x digital 8 camcorders, $100 off. And Conker 51cm TVs, $50 off. Truscott Hi-Fi, Adelaide's lowest prices with up to 24 months interest-free terms.
You want Termy Mesh.
A little bit of Micah in my life, a little bit of Joshua by my side, a little bit of Peter's all I need, a little bit of Tina's what I see, a little bit of Sandra in the sun, a little bit of Harry all night long, a little bit of Jessica, here I am, a little bit of Heinz makes me a man.
There's a bit of Heinz in all of us.
The bulletproof strength, the legendary reliability and uncompromising safety that goes into every Toyota also goes into every Toyota forklift. If you need to move it, lift it, steer it or shift it, trust Australia's #1 counterbalance forklifts from Toyota.
When you think of Italy, you think of things like the latest fashions. Want to go to Subway? But best of all, great tasting bread.
Our new roasted garlic on Italian starts with classic Italian bread, and then we top it with roasted garlic and spices and bake it all together.
Subway, eat fresh!
If you don't tell anyone, how would they know? Goodwill makes fashion sense.
Wednesday night at the movies. The fastest hands in the East are about to meet the biggest attitude in the West.
Do you understand
God help the rest of us. Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker.
Hey, Beach Boy. Y'all touch your black man's radio, boy.
Buckle up and get set for a real rush.
You destroyed half a city block. That block was already messed up.
Rush Hour, 8:30 Wednesday on 9.
This AFL coverage proudly brought to you by Mitre 10, Duracell and TAC. Wipe off 5 or wipe out lives.
Welcome back to Optus Oval. Quarter time sees Adelaide 6-3-39. A terrific start, some exciting football, and Carlton 1 goal 4-10 really battled for the first 20 minutes and got a goal through a fortuitous free kick off the ball as it was being brought back to the centre after an Adelaide Crows goal. And there's the solitary goal kicker for Carlton, Lance Whitnell, who's been well held by Nigel Smart. On the other hand, Adelaide's forward structure is dangerous. Burton started in the goal square. Rashudo started at half forward. We've got a couple of defenders that pushed down in Bassett and Stengline. Welsh and Stevens also got amongst it. So the forward set-up for Adelaide was terrific. And it was exciting footy, boys, right from the word go. Welsh was able to get on the scoreboard early in the piece. And that was the sort of start that Gary Ayres was after. Nathan Bassett pushed down from half-back. And then the old firm, Rashudo, the McLeod, the leading Burton, who was terrific, I thought, in the first quarter.
Indeed he was. He really provided an option up forward, as did many of the other Adelaide players. Stengline there, you see, kicking the set shot. Shell competing in the air, bringing the ball to the ground. All of the Adelaide forwards doing the right thing. Rashudo thought someone would come at him, turned around, nothing on offer, just went straight for goal.
It was just uncomplicated football. Their forward set-up, which I've spoken a lot about, I know, with Burton and Shell in the goal square, the other four play up across half forward, and clearly because they've got so much footy in the middle. Bode's had 9 possessions, McLeod has had 6, and Bickley 9. They just kick the ball long, get a contest, and the crummers are there at the drop of the ball. Corey McKernan, who's been maligned, much maligned in recent times, I thought his first quarter was really heartening. He got jumped over a bit at the centre bounce, but probably his work around the ground, Brian, and Dwayne, was what was most impressive.
A couple of strong contested marks. The lead-out mark there, didn't finish it with the kick, and he was very competitive. And this particular one here, while he didn't take the mark, he put 3 Adelaide Crow players to ground, and that meant there was no one to chase the front and centre player.
Let's go down to Michael Roberts on the boundary.
Thanks, Gary. It'll be interesting to see how 4 blokes go today. 2 from Adelaide and 2 from Carlton. David Gallagher and Andrew Eccles. And Chris Massey and Ben Nelson all playing for different mobs this time. So it'll be interesting to see how they go. Wayne Brittenwell was furious, and he just didn't generally have a dig at them. He ripped right into a few of them. One of them being Ryan Houlihan, who's came off just before quarter time, and he's back on the bench now.
Good on you, Michael. Thank you very much for that. Ryan Houlihan, who was a player that got them back into it last Friday night against the Hawks, but the Crows are travelling beautifully. Start of the second quarter, Dwayne Russell.
Crows by 29 points to start the second term. Houghton in the ruck now against Clark, and again down to McLeod, as you were, gentlemen, to Johnson, high towards half forward, almost but not quite for Rashudo. Gallagher well tackled by Edwards, Beaumont well tackled by Welsh, and the Adelaide Crows have started this second term exactly how they left off after the first.
And that tells a story as well, doesn't it? Carlton working furiously or hard for a goal, and inside 50s, well, Adelaide have been very, very efficient.
Ball up, attacking 50. McLeod got on the right spot. McKay, the acting captain today, lucky to get the handball away without being pinged. See, they're hard at it. Houghton came in with some real aggression there. And we'll have another ball up.
Now, both sides are almost prepared to concede that their midfield are going to find plenty of football. Bradley had 11 touches for the quarter. Camporelli had 8 and Murphy had 7. And then you look on the other side of the coin, Bickley had 9, McLeod had 6, and Bode had 9. So it's giving each other plenty of space.
Clark and Houghton, and a free kick going Houghton's way. You see Clark there saying, I was being pushed out of the way myself. Houghton slots it wide. Bradley looking to get some run from back. Presenting downfield as Pickering. That is ignored by Craig Bradley. He waits for a few numbers to arrive on that side of the ground. You can see them just starting to get across there now in his vision. It's a great shot at what confronts Craig Bradley. Not easy to pick a player out amongst that. Kick goes forward. Houghton, all he could do was compete in the air. He did that well to ground. With the advantage paid away. Plunkett, centre wing. Smother was half-hearted by Johnson, but the kick was so bad by Plunkett that it looked a very effective effort in the end. Picked up by the Blues. They attempt to go forward once again. Got numbers back here, Adelaide. 2-on-1. Perry. Little kick around the corner was good, if not risky. Stenglein, Plunkett. Stenglein with a fast handball. Free kick in the meantime will go Plunkett's way.
They don't want to start getting too cute, Adelaide. They just have played good, solid, almost predictable footy. Once they start to flirt with their form, they might run into a little bit of trouble.
Jim Plunkett finally receives the ball back. Inside 50 towards Whitnell. Once again, Smart's palm not far away from Whitnell's hand. And the ball out of play, forward pocket for the Blues. Carlton with 5 clearances from the ball ends to Adelaide's 1. So McKernan, when he has been rucking, has been doing well, but he won't be rucking here. Side by side, we see a couple of one-on-ones, but it'll be Whitnell and Smart the main one. Back of the pack, Plunkett. Caught a little high, but he slipped into that high tackle by McLeod.
It annoys me, those decisions.
So Plunkett from outside 50, bombs it long, goal square. McKernan's there. McKernan is there.
Well, we did have a look at Corey McKernan just after quarter time, and it's, whilst confidence is an intangible thing, you can almost see it in this man as it comes back. He's now taken a couple of really strong, clean grabs. 4 marks, 3 of them have been contested, and that is a terrific sign. He's got huge mitts. Have a look at his hands around that footy. He's got some confidence. It's a fair chance.
The former Superman will ever not kryptonite to him anymore. He is back, and so are the Blues.
It was unbelievable. This car pulled out right in front of me.
Big, and you should have seen the look on his face. The car has gone up on 2 wheels. There's a set of shops, and he's heading straight for it.
Right through this window. And then this other car came along and bang right in the back of him.
Apparently, he got straight through to Amy. Lovely girl, sorting out the whole thing from start to finish.
Lucky.
Corey McKernan following on his good form of last week here at Optus today. Back in the middle. McKernan missed it. Clark, wonderful. Edwards, good hands. The centre clearance going Adelaide's way. They chase it down. Stevens might have been driven in the back slightly by Beaumont. Umpire said no. Prosciutto is standing by to watch. And we'll have a ball up attacking 50 for the Adelaide Crows.
Kane Johnson, another one of those unobtrusive midfielders that doesn't seem to attract much attention, but he's racked up 11 possessions already in just over a quarter and a bit of footy.
Ball up inside the attacking 50 for Adelaide. Kicking to the right of screen. Johnson got the tap down from Clark. Doing it well, Clark, in the ruck clearance situation at the moment. McKay's handball was half to Beaumont and half to the safety of the boundary line, and in the end he probably achieved the result he was looking for under pressure.
Clark and Houghton again. You can see the height difference. Clark with a good few inches on Trent Houghton and front spot. Houghton tries to work his way in front. Well, he got one too high according to the umpire, and it'll be a Trent Houghton free kick as Bradley tried to trot away. You can make your own mind up about that. Takes plenty of time from half-back. The Blues happy to play stagnant catch-up footy at the moment. Whitnell rises. Good mark. Has the options in the middle. Fletcher slips but marks. It's the ball on to Murphy. About to get caught. Does get caught. Handball back to Fletcher. They're fiddling. Houghton. Long driving ball to McKernan. Why wouldn't you go to him? Ball to the back though. McLeod. An uncharacteristic fumble by him. Burton all the way back to half-back. Hacks it to the wing. Unkind bounce for Manton. Bode couldn't quite trap it first time. Doesn't worry about trapping it second time. Welsh. Brilliance. Prosciutto can keep them from 50. Central ball. Goal square. One-on-one contest. Off the pack. Good one.
Once again, Dwayne and Brian, uncomplicated football. Win the footy, get it to around the 50-metre zone. Don't look for the perfect lace-out kick. Look, just push it forward. Good work here from Welsh. Gets it over to his skipper, and then he didn't think long and hard. He just whacked it in there to a dangerous spot. Shell contested hard for front spot. Ball was brought to the front, and they get numbers and crumbers there. It is a very simple formula, but when it's played to perfection, it's effective.
The Adelaide Crows back in control after a mini burst from the Blues. Through the middle, Rashudo tries to bully his way through. Johnson's in there as well, some experience, but Plunkett extracts the ball out of the middle. Lappin trapped it well. Some support from Whitnell, the dummy, the double dummy, and then he was clobbered. In came Pickering, but I think
free kick.
The first result will be played Adelaide's way. He just tried one too many, did Lappin. Free kick Adelaide, half back.
Bassett looks wide to Stingline, has some space. A precise kick allows Stingline to run on. Smart provides the wide option. Beautifully placed kick. Smart runs to half forward. Bombs it long towards Shell. Big leap Burton. Couldn't bring the ball down. Ball in a pack. And they get it out the Crows. Houghton. Beaumont. McKay. Now Camporelli. Half back. Dangerous. Gallagher takes the mark half back flank. 8 possessions for Gallagher. Plunkett back in the corridor, thought about it, then thought better of it. Goes wide, Christo.
Go wide to that man you mentioned, Dwayne. He's had 5 touches so far, Christo. He brings it straight down the middle. Whitnell, the intended target, sandwiched between 2. Bode was there, was tackled savagely by Cranich. Nothing in it, said the umpire.
Getting badly out-crumbed at the moment, Carlton, particularly up in Adelaide's forward line. But even on that occasion, Christo elected to go long. They got a contest. The ball dropped into that area where you want your crummers. But again, Adelaide were first there. They've got to work harder, the small Carlton players, to get to the foot of these packs. Get in first.
29-point Adelaide lead. We've played 9 minutes. Second quarter. Big ones. Handball out. Good when they're away. They've got a bit of space to operate here as the runners get forward of the ball. Look at that. They set up the triangle. It's Hart that runs a long way, kicks the ball inside 50. Shell flew, no mark, Mansfield. Clearing kick under enormous pressure out wide. Looking and hoping for the boundary line. Gallagher. Christo. Back to Camporelli. And all of a sudden they're away, the Blues.
McKay to Plunkett, but he's under pressure. McLeod comes at him. Gallagher. He'll go backwards here. And a dangerous ball, almost there, Burton. Ball not clear. Johnson pounces, handballs wide, too wide for Doughty. Forced to run back onto it, slips, gets around an opponent, chips it, Rashudo, bang!
And 50.
Took the mark. Cranich came, and according to the umpire, arrived just on time.
Craig Bradley has been a super player for Carlton, and he's picking up possessions, but he's hurting them by not going with Kane Johnson at the moment. He's his direct opponent, and Johnson is just finding too much of the footy. Here he is, on his own, Bradley in the middle of the ground. I suppose on that occasion you wouldn't expect Carlton to turn it over as badly as he has, so maybe an excuse there for Braddles, but 14 possessions to Johnson is a pretty fair reward.
Mark Rashudo, no angle. Kicking into the shadows of the Hickley stand, and it's a beautiful drop punt. 2 goals for Rashudo, and they look invincible.
It's a red-hot game out there today. A huge pack of players around the football. Someone's got to get it moving. Now he's in the clear. Watch out. Oh, he's got that very high. A ferocious tackle. Oh!
Golden draft, thanks.
He couldn't believe he got straight through to me. He thought he'd get a computer.
If you'd rather speak to a real person, call Amy on 13 22 44.
Well, Adelaide kicked 6 straight in the first quarter. Then in this second quarter, after the McKernan goal, the 3-minute mark, Adelaide have kicked the next 2 to extend their lead from quarter time of 29 points to 35-point advantage now, midway through this second term. Players converging. Umpire will do it all again. Edwards in a tangle there with Fletcher. See Kane Johnson, who Gary just mentioned, has knocked up getting the ball, and he leads the top 5.
Got Jimmy Plunkett now as his opponent. This needs to be tighter. Whoever gets these midfielders at the moment need to tighten up.
Clark, McKernan, Edwards Through heavy, traffic, little left foot kick, got a good roll on it. Fletcher tried to swat it. McLeod knew what he was doing. Bode did the hard work. Goodwin on his favoured left side. Puts it across the face. 36-point lead to the Adelaide Crows.
Goodwin, McLeod, Bode, all in it again. Midfield possessions at the moment. Adelaide sit at 82, Carlton sit at 60.
Christou down the corridor, Camporelli. As Gary said, plenty of Carlton players in the midfield getting possessions, but when you play off your man in a high possession game, it's the scoreboard that tells you who wins and who loses. Pickering back into the corridor nicely. Kranich to Fletcher. Can Simon find a man up forward? Whitnell the target. Smart's with him. Ball to the back and the space. The race on. Whitnell falls. Biglands keeps his feet. Keeps it in. Smart made it look as if he wanted to keep it in, but of course he wanted to take it out. Down the boundary line, Michael Roberts.
I know, boys, we've said this is almost perfect conditions, but that middle, I went out there at quarter time, big chunks out of there, very slippery, very wet.
Boundary throw in the attacking 50 for the Blues. Whitnell couldn't quite do it. McKernan with a hand on it. Goodwin missed an opportunity moments ago. Kane Johnson seems to be everywhere at the moment. Slots up and finds his teammate in Doughty, who kicks the ball. Centre wing, Plunkett got on the end of the scrap over the top, gives it to Camporelli. Advance, Whitnell, smart! Classic sit over the top, and he was very clean in his attempt to bring it down.
Great to watch at the moment, the Crows. Mansfield cuts it off, back inside 50, ugly, Edwards. And Kranich, Murphy over it, handball out, Whitnell messing with it, short, McKernan, could he be the man? He is the man. 2 goals to Corey.
Little Lance magic there, good composure inside 50, and McKernan, who's having a bit of an impact on this game. It was ugly play. Really, Edwards should have taken that mark. They lost possession there, so it was scrappy and ugly, but it got there. And they've got to keep chipping away. It doesn't really matter how they do it. They've got to hang in here, Carlton, hang in the contest, not get blown away, and just chip away slowly.
30-point lead. The Adelaide Crows, you can see the time left in this second quarter. 2 second-quarter goals going McKernan's way. Johnson of the Adelaide Crows in the middle. Clark desperate as well. He's played a stellar game today, Matthew Clark.
Just trying to sort them out now. I've been trying to watch these matchups, and really at the moment the Carlton players seem to swap opponents every 3 or 4 minutes, and that's why there's just so many loose players all over the ground. Really, they need to grab one and stay with it for a period of time.
A lot of excuses there, Gary, if you need them, isn't there?
Yep.
Kick forward for the Adelaide Crows. Centre half forward. Prosciutto. Umpire adjudicated that McKay was holding on to him before the ball had arrived. Good call, umpire Martin Ellis. Now, Prosciutto is going back like he means business on this kick, and you wouldn't put it past him.
He's played a terrific game at effectively centre half forward. And there's age-old theory in footy that you need to be 6'4" to play these key posts. As long as the matchup's right and you contest as hard as this bloke does, a bit like Daniel Chick at Hawthorn, he's had 9 possessions. He's a big chance from here. He's had a big say in this.
And kicked 2 goals. He'll have to kick it 55 metres. The protection of the Heatley stand. It's a thumping kick. It's accurate too. It is a goal. Prosciutto's got his 3rd goal.
Adelaide Crows out for their biggest lead of the game so far, 36 points. Plenty of time left, second term, and McLeod another takeaway. Thanks to a beautiful palm by Clark to full forward. Burton flies, Manton leaves it for McKay, gives to Bradley. Wide, Pickering, ball bouncing, boundary line, Doughty holds him up. Spearing handball, happy with the line in the end as Bickley takes it out of play.
Pickering and Plunkett on screen there for the Blues. The former skipper Mark Bickley.
Winning plenty of footy inside Adelaide, as evidence there. Carlton winning a lot of footy outside. So it's in at the contest that Adelaide are doing the damage.
36-point lead Adelaide's way. Kane Johnson, another possession. Running onto the ball with Goodwin. Advantage almost paid there. In fact, it'll go the opposite way. Beaumont at half-back. Sends it out in the direction of Cranage. On his favoured left side, Manton's got a high ball. Shell closes. Not quickly enough, and Manton has marked. He can play on and go over the top and find Gallagher. Gallagher on that true centre wing area has marked the ball. Now it gets difficult to pick out a target downfield because Adelaide get back in numbers and get themselves behind the ball. McKernan went up one hand. Hart. Control. Just had to advance the ball down. He was under pressure. Gallagher dropped the mark. He should have taken it out. Bickley to get it over to Stevens onto McLeod. Now the running game of Adelaide comes to the fore. But Beaumont got in the way of it all.
Pickering to Christou, held up, wants to come back into the corridor. Long, Cranage, McLeod, good clash, legal. Johnson, another crumb. To Hart, another possession. Long to half forward, Stevens. Too far out to score, 55 from goal. Looks at the pass options. One of them is Burton on the move, and he takes it with ease.
Got all the answers. I'll just give you a couple of matchups in the middle so you know. This is what I've come up with. Is McLeod and Camporelli again together and are just playing wide of each other. Johnson and Bradley, same deal. And Bickley and Fletcher. They are the ones I know definitively. They get lost during play and they just go off and pick up possessions at will. 16 Kane Johnson's up to at the moment.
Burton's fourth mark, that was all inside 50, extends the Crows' lead by just the one behind.
And Dwayne made a good point. That might be all good and well. You can all go and get plenty of footy, but at the end of the day, the scoreboard will tell you who is making better use of that. And right now, it's Adelaide, and they're dominant.
Indeed they are, led by their skipper Rashudo with 3 first-half goals already. We're not completed yet. We're just 20 minutes into this second quarter. Kick inboard, risky from Bradley, and they've got a free kick out of it, so they'll get out of this okay. Mansfield, the recipient, wants to move it quickly. He's got Fletcher on wide. Hart got back, was competitive. Fletcher did it at ground level. Plunkett applies the tackle. Murphy there to support as well. Ball will not come out of that huddle, and we'll have it thrown up by the umpire.
And big Rhett Biglands has come on to play on Corey McKernan, who's been in pretty good form. At the moment, McKernan playing full forward, Biglands full back.
Adelaide's midfield, known as being one of the best, if not the best in the comp. Beating the Blues at the clearances. According to the stats at the moment, they don't get the takeaway here. And we'll have another ball up from umpire Ray Kelsey as we go down to the boundary line. Dr. Peter Larkins.
Yeah, Glenn Manton brought himself to the bench, Dwayne, before. He's getting some tension to the right calf. I'm not sure if he got a kick on it or whether he got a strain, but he's not able to run properly, so they can ill afford to be without a defender.
Absolutely, Doc. No question about that. Let's hope he can get back into the action as Bo tidies up across half-back with the support of Edwards, who's been solid. Johnson just knocks up, getting it. Bickley, long ball forward, looking for Rashudo. Free kick's been paid. It'll go Adelaide's way. It was for a hold. Umpire was right on the spot. Kick down to Bassett on the lead in front of Gallagher. And he has marked 25 metres out. Tough angle. He can kick it over the top to Clark. Clark's got the sit, couldn't mark. Did well, Houghton to get back. Ground level, the Blues. Tidy up Bradley. Genuine half-back area. Straight down to Whitnell. Hasn't had much of it. Look at the way he used his body. Superb effort by Lance. 8th possession for him. McKernan's one out of the square with Biglands. McKernan's been doing well. Look for the 2 bites. Fell over in the process. Ball over the line.
Good effort from Rhett Biglands. He had him where he wanted him, and from a forward's point of view, he had Rhett Biglands with his back to the ball that was coming in. Good mark from Whitnell here. Used his big frame very well.
Very tough to get around that body of Lance Whitnell. Ball about to be put back into play. Forward pocket for the Blues, Biglands. Front spot, got the glove on ball in front of McKernan. Houlihan was there, ball hacked out of defensive 50. The Blues with the numbers, Pickering to Lance again. Centering ball, Plunkett.
Again, another example of this midfield, their willingness to play wide of each other. Matthew Bode is playing on Jim Plunkett, and in that situation Plunkett's wisely pulled himself away from the contest, stood out on his own, and there you saw Bode just in the corner of the screen there. No respect for him, just let him go and stand.
They need this one, the Blues. There's an understatement for you. Plunkett puts it through. They're hanging in there.
I'm a chartered accountant in an accounting and administration role. I actually joined the Army Reserves, and that was my way of doing something physical. It was just something that seemed to offer some potential change in lifestyle. There are many highlights. The one that comes to mind the most is when I went to Hawaii, flying over the Hawaiian coastline in Black Hawk helicopters. I'll live with those memories forever.
A 31-point Adelaide lead with 4.5 minutes remaining on the clock. They've been efficient with the centre clearances all day, Adelaide, and there's another example. Roche with a mark somehow around the body of Mansfield. I think just too far out to score by a couple of metres.
Long to the square would be the way they've been playing all day, with great effect, and get the crummers at the bottom.
Scott Welsh, the former Roo, comes in from inside the centre square. It won't go the journey, but it'll go to the pack, and they will bring it to ground. Camporelli knocked off his feet. Lappin got a bad bounce. Massey, the former Blue, was crunched in the tackle by Lappin. Welcome back to off the oval, Chris Massey.
31 points is a handy lead, but it's not out of the woods for a side who have dominated the game so very, very much. Another quick one to Carlton. They go into some confidence.
We're in the shadows of not only the grandstand, but of half-time as Camporelli gives to Bradley, to McKay, to the middle. Lance Whittle's got a couple to beat here. It's bumped out of the contest. Legally according to the umpire, Edwards. Spearing ball to Smart, who did the bumping. Smart goes long, inside 50. Chance for Burton to fly, bring the ball down. Tackle laid to the foot of Pickering, and he will receive the free kick. Christou. Livingston on the field now for the Blues. Wide towards the boundary line and out of play. It'll be a ball in.
It's a danger when you isolate Lance Whitnell with Nigel Smart. Lance is so good, but if the footy does find its way to the ground and into a little bit of space, the run that Smart provides across half-back for Adelaide can do some damage.
Carlton gradually bringing the disposals per goal down to a respectable 21. It was in the high 70s when we looked not long ago in this quarter. And it's a 31-point advantage to the Adelaide Crows. Ball up clearances so far. Adelaide 6, Carlton just the 1. Matthew Clark has made sure of that with tap downs like that. This time an Adelaide player didn't get on the end of it. Lappin saw to that. McLeod sitting the bench. Perhaps part of the rotation. Midfielders through.
Yeah, for sure. Matthew Lappin's got to get busy. Only had 3 touches to this stage of the game.
26 minutes into this second term. Ball in. Clark. Beautiful piece of magic through traffic. Massey on the end of the handball. Long towards the goal square. Burton over the top. Shell.
Big mark.
You've got to get high if you're going to get over Burton.
Exactly right. And gee, sometimes you put together a forward line and you say, gee, I hope they all, that is a great mark. I hope they all get involved. Well, today they have for Adelaide, because they've all been able to find the footy. Welsh has got a goal, Stevens has got one, Burton's got one, Prosciutto's got 3, and now the other member of this forward line, Shell, lining up for his first.
Very kickable. Drop punt is perfect. And a late one in the opening half for the Crows.
I'll just look that up for you. Yes, I can help you with that.
Due to the upgraded hardware in our core business units. Now, if everyone would turn to page 7.
For a great lineup of communication services, choose Primus Telecom.
The Crows, through Shell, as Dwayne mentioned, you can see the clock. A late goal. They haven't been able to get the run on that they had in the first quarter where they kicked 6 straight, but nevertheless, they've got them on a consistent basis. Finally, a clearance for Carlton. Plunkett got it to Whitnall and he marks within range, Big Lance. Centre clearances in this second quarter, 4-2 Adelaide's way. And Whitnall will line up for his second goal.
His kicking hasn't been Lance's strong point this year.
Gets a bit of momentum in his run-up from 50 metres out. Distance, just a little bit of a problem. McKernan on the line. Touched off hands. Minor score. Carlton's way. Lance Whitnall has been starved of the ball, so to speak, today by the simple, better player, the Adelaide players.
Hart straight down the corridor. Smart, the big leaper. Ball passed away from him. Plunkett. Well crumbed. Just fiddling around with it. Gallagher wide. Camporelli. If it sits for him, he's got some space. 50 from goal. Centering ball in the corridor. Mark taken about 40 metres from goal by Kranich.
Good work, Scott Camporelli. I admire him. He is playing under some duress, I would reckon. He's got half a mattress strapped around his right thigh. But he continues to find the football. He's had 12 possessions in the first half.
Sam Kranich lining up in the dying seconds, and well, they won't talk about that in 35 seconds from now when they walk from the field.
No, but Wayne Britton might when they get behind closed doors. That's a bad miss.
35-point lead now for the Adelaide Crows, nearing half-time. Hart, the responsibilities, and a big responsibility it is in modern football, kicking the ball in these days. Goes wide. The Carlton zone had set very deep, allowing Edwards plenty of space. Kicks to McLeod, back on the ground. McLeod with his 10th touch. Kicks forward. Competitive ball, Houghton and Doughty. Stevens arrives late. Boundary line beats them all, and I think that is just about where the scores will lie come half-time. 35 points. Adelaide, in this second quarter, they have kicked 4 goals to the Blues 3.
Would need to be a super quick clearance from this ball in for a score. Just the Adelaide Crows side of the wing. Biglands slaps down Massey. Gives the ball off Doughty. Positive sign here. They can get on the end of it. Hart. Drop punt wide. Needed to go central. Bouncing ball. Big tackle late on Pickering. And that'll end a sensational opening half by the Adelaide Crows away from home. They have got the Blues on the ropes. They led by 29 points at quarter time after a 6-goal-to-1 opening term, and the half-time margin stretched to 35.
Yes, 10-goal first half would be, I think, that Gary Ayres would have taken that at the start of this game. Have to be wrapped and pleased. They dominated. Their forward line functioned well. Their midfield got plenty of it, and their defence was miserly. So, all in all, Carlton have got the job ahead of them. They've got to conjure some goals up from somewhere. Right now, they're 35 points in arrears. It's the Crows, 9-10-64, leading the Blues 4-5-30.
This news break is brought to you by Bank SA Home Loans.
Good afternoon. In a shocking weekend on our state's roads, 2 people have been killed in a head-on collision near Mount Compass. It happened last night on the Victor Harbour Road. There were no passengers in either car. And this afternoon, a motorcyclist was killed in a collision with a car near Mount Pleasant. In other news, no survivors have been found after the crash of a China Airlines plane off Taiwan with more than 200 people on board. And 7 people at a Sydney wedding reception have been wounded when a man opened fire with a semi-automatic pistol. Details in the news.
Almost 20 k's over the speed limit.
40-ton missiles.
118.
And 115.
Making a mockery of the speed limit time and time again.
The speed limiters have been tampered with.
Nissan presents a Current Affair Monday.
I'm doing a run, guys. Do you want something? Yeah, get us something cold. Yeah, get us something cold. Natural energy. Get it in ya.
The original energy source.
Here's 2 special termite offers from Murray Pest Control. 20% discount on the Centricon Colony Elimination System and 20% off the price of a visual termite inspection report. Protect your home. Call Murray Pest Control now, 13 14 70.
If there's one thing the big crowds love about Truscott Hi-Fi, it's their low prices. LG 68cm stereo TVs with teletext, $100 off. Pioneer DVD players with 5 free movies, $50 off. Sony 560x Digital 8 camcorders, $100 off. And Conker 51cm TVs, $50 off. Truscott Hi-Fi, Adelaide's lowest prices with up to 24 months interest-free terms.
If it's good enough for you to wear, it's good enough for Goodwill to sell. Goodwill needs good clothing right now.
The 2002 FIFA World Cup begins on 9, with group favourites Germany facing the pride of Persia, Saudi Arabia. Then Italy take on Ecuador. Live World Cup coverage Saturday on 9.
Time here, let's just check those scores. I may have been a bit misleading as we went to the break. 10-5, 65, Adelaide, 35-point leaders over Carlton. 4 goals, 6-30. Goals have been shared, Brian.
Yes, in that first quarter, Adelaide got away, but look at Rashudo, 3 straight. Burton 1, Goodwin 1, Walsh, Shell and Bassett, and Carlton, Corey McKernan, the only man in double figures there.
Talk about Mark Rashudo. He's played effectively as a centre-half forward today, and I think he's been wonderfully effective. Well, he's had 11 possessions, which is a great effort in itself, but it's his impact and his ability to contest one out, which has been most impressive. And he's played against quality opposition too, Andrew McKay, and really dominated him for most of the afternoon.
Kicked 3 goals, just set the aggressive nature and tone. You see go back outside 50 there, and it's been a real leadership role that he's played and played very well today.
We always talk about the Adelaide midfield, and we always talk about Rashudo, we always talk about McLeod. There's a bloke who just keeps getting the footy that we don't pay enough attention to, but after today you can't ignore him, and that is Kane Johnson.
He was simply superb. 18 first half possessions, he just got on the end of it. You mentioned that there were 3 midfielders playing wide of each other. He was one of those. He did it so very well and kept plenty of supply going forward.
Dual premiership player, of course, of the highest quality. He's been in wonderful touch. Their ability to mark the footy today, perfect conditions, no breeze about, and they've had tall forwards and key defenders that have been able to do it at both ends of the ground. Nigel Smart, that is a big mark, and he's back to some of his very best form at a time when some thought that maybe it was behind him.
Playing on Whitnall, yeah, and he's doing a great job. Burton, you see there, unusually being outmarked by Shell over the top. There's a second look at it. He converted that marking attempt there as well, and gold for his first late in the quarter.
And these are the statistics for the afternoon today, as you would expect, most of them in favour of the Adelaide Crows, except for the ones where rebound 50. That's because it's been in Carlton's defence so often throughout the course of the afternoon. Their loose ball gets. Adelaide have won most of the loose ball footy, and these ones are interesting, Brian.
Yeah, you look at the 1%ers there, Gary, and simply Adelaide have had more of the ball. They trail in most of those columns there, but that is because Adelaide have had more of the ball.
Can they get back into it, Carl?
I think they can. Look, they showed glimpses in that quarter. They were only outscored by 1 goal in that particular quarter, and I think that was a good sign that Carlton at least started to get the ball forward. They need to get it in the hands of Lance Whitnell a little more.
We'll take a break here at Optus Oval. After the break, we'll take a look at the progressive scores between Brisbane and Fremantle at the Gabba. You're watching AFL Sunday.
This afternoon on Postcards, lovely Mundu Island Station where the Murray meets the sea, a country hideaway off the track in the Riverland Mallee, and I'm in search of a bargain at the North Arm Market. This afternoon, Postcards on 9.
Building a playground was meant to be child's play.
This is a dead set disaster.
But for tough guy Scotty, it's his biggest challenge yet.
For the first time, we could be in real strife.
Backyard Blitz, 6:30 tonight on 9.
Get the whole picture with a widescreen television from Radio Rentals. Sport, your favourite shows, and even Radio Rentals ads will take on a whole new look. LG widescreen TV, just $29.65 weekly rental, or TAC widescreen TV for just $16.99, save $300, or $14.40 weekly rental. Plus, rent or buy any widescreen TV and receive a $100 gift voucher, and get a $100 trade-in off any working remote TV. Radio Rentals, we know our stuff.
People travel from all over the world to see the Outback. Fortunately, we have it on our very own doorstep. The Stratco Outback. A veranda, carport, patio and pergola system with exclusive design features and a brilliant high-gloss colour bond finish. The Stratco Outback is unique and affordable, and you need travel no further than Stratco or an authorised dealer.
Why stick to a home loan with a 25-year term when with a Latitude home loan, you can own your home in just 8 short years?
That's more like a savings and loans.
Are you going to be part of Adelaide's largest school excursion? Snap to it and call the Snap hotline to register your school's interest. Proudly supported by Channel 9.
Tonight on Location, it's Judgment Day for a former Port Adelaide mayor.
We're talking Broadview. We're talking, not far from the city. We're talking it's a very beautiful main road. Under 300,000.
7 o'clock tonight.
A desperate family, the grieving girlfriend.
I saw the gun in his hand.
Tracking the Outback killer to solve Australia's most baffling murder.
We'll find him.
And what's got Kate Blanchett so embarrassed?
I won't be watching this interview.
Tonight on 60 Minutes.
Russell joins me, Dwayne. Carlton, I mean, it is a precarious position for them, and right now they are looking right down the barrel.
They are, but they've got a couple of players who can turn it on for patches of 5 or 10 minutes. Houlihan and Lappin, if they turn their games around, if they give Carlton some inspiration up forward, then all of a sudden the midfield will start to generate more possessions because they're excited about getting it down there. They've also got Whitnell. He's not playing too badly at centre-half forward, providing a target, and McKernan show glimpses as well. They're not out of this game. They just need to win the third quarter.
35 points is not a lot in modern-day footy. They would need to turn it around, though. There is another game being played this afternoon up at the Gabba. It is Brisbane against resurgent Fremantle. Let's have a look at all the first half highlights.
So boundary throw in. Put that space towards the square. Lynch grabs it and kicks a goal. Well done. Norrish down towards the attacking 50 then. There he is. Had it knocked away by Power. Charging in was Lappin. Claimed by Farmer, who I think has got a case. And the umpire eventually... that was the long count.
Good call, Dennis.
That was Tunney and Dempsey.
He did.
That took forever.
Yeah, he gave him every chance to get rid of it. Now the Wiz, he'll be thinking early on, I'd like to excite here, and he'll be thinking of something special.
A goal would do.
Yeah.
Just a straight goal. Don't have to go into the book of tricks. He's going the tour.
Farmer gets onto it too. It wobbles. Has it got the carry? Crowed very high. I think it's a goal. The Wizard. Here's that old stager, Pikey from Props, who runs to 55 metres out. Got it from Scott. And how's that for a finish? Long ball, Martin Pike. Grover runs to 55, kicks towards a vacant square. Medhurst goes back and takes the mark. Medhurst, close. So handy in this situation. Pops it through for a goal. Back to 6 points.
The rotation is allowing Pike to get free because he was having to pick up Lee Brown at the other end, with Brown going into the ruck with their rotation. That's a strong set of hands.
That's a great move.
Isn't it?
Lynch. Inside the 50, and he's got his second. And a bit of history. Kicks off with a high one in from the side. Almost the mark to Copeland. Cook did well. McManus in into space. Should kick his second goal here, trying to work it right to left, and he's got it. Oh, well done by the Dockers.
It is Brisbane versus Fremantle at the Gabba. We've got a 3/4 time score for you now. If you don't want to know, I suggest you look away.
Twist.
Shame. 35 points of difference here at Optus Oval. It is Adelaide in control. Can Carlton come back? They sit on the bottom of the ladder. They need it. We'll take a break and be back with all the second half action on AFL Sunday.
Live on 9. Let the games begin. The one to win. Australia versus Pakistan. AFL. And the big one. 4 unmatchable events. 1 unbeatable month. June live on 9.
Is back. Game over.
You want Termy Mesh.
Come on, where's Mummy's boy? Time to go outside. Come on, get out from under there. Oh, you naughty boy. No, don't go in there. Come on, out you go. Good boy.
Just above the railway station at North Terrace.
When you think of Italy, you think of things like cars that think they can fly. The latest fashions. You girls appreciate great taste. Want to go to Subway? Italy. That's where Subway came up with the idea for the new roasted garlic on Italian. Come on.
Our new roasted garlic on Italian is delicious. We start with classic Italian bread, sprinkle roasted garlic, and select spices on top and bake it all together. It's one of Subway's 2 new gourmet breads.
Maybe in your next lifetime, guys.
Subway is fresh.
Oh, look what we've done to the place, Ma.
Look how we've doubled the space.
Good on you, son. We tried to do it ourselves.
But we needed some help. Done well.
And we got it all in might of 10. Ben?
10 out of 10.
Look what we've done to our place.
Gee, I really swore sticking up that fucking door.
Which reminds me, you've still got my plane, Jane. No,
Look what we've done to our place.
Wednesday night at the movies. The fastest hands in the East are about to meet the biggest attitude in the West.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
God help the rest of us. Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker.
Hey, Beach Boy. Y'all touch your black man's radio, boy.
Buckle up and get set for a real rush.
You destroyed half a city block.
That block was already messed up.
Rush Hour, 8:30 Wednesday on 9.
Welcome back to Optus Oval. Adelaide in control at half-time. The Blues sitting on the bottom of the ladder with just one victory. Have some work to do here, gentlemen. Rather chilly afternoon. Still no clouds in sight, though. Beautiful conditions. Who will spark this Carlton side, or will this dominance of Adelaide's midfield, their marking forwards and their tight defence continue to prevail?
Well, you'd think the Blues midfield have just got to tighten up on their opposing midfielders, because at the moment, if they're trying to have a bit of a fight out, it's all Adelaide's way in the midfield. If the Blues midfielders can tighten up a little bit and just get a little bit more ball through that corridor hotspot and Lance Whitnell, then perhaps you can see the progression of the Carlton team just edging closer towards three-quarter time.
And they'd love to have that man available. Matthew Allen, of course, who's been a star in the ruck over the years, has got terrible problems with a stress fracture, out for the season. Compounds the problems of this Carlton side, although Corey McKernan has been pretty reasonable this afternoon as we go down to Dr. Peter Larkins and Michael Roberts.
Well, there's a slight breeze going down to the Adelaide end, the Legends end in this third quarter, so it may help Adelaide a little bit more there. Walking through the crowd at half-time, a lot of the Carlton people are saying, what about the Carlton of old? Why can't they come out and pump sides like they used to a decade ago? You said, Dwayno, that Houlihan and Lappin will have to pick up. It's pretty hard to do that while Houlihan's sitting on the bench, Doc.
Yeah, and so Glenn Manton was sorry side limping over in the tracksuit, so that calf injury finished him for the day, and you expect that to be a couple of weeks for Glenn with the calf.
Good on you, boys. Keep yourself warm down there. There's snow in there, I reckon. But, well, I must admit, I've enjoyed watching the way Adelaide have gone about it today. They've been really impressive through the middle of the ground. That much-fated midfield has been on song today, and they've been effective and dangerous, and they continue to go with this forward setup. That man's got to find some footy, Matthew Lappin. We know what he's capable of. He's got to get busy, as does Ryan Houlihan. A lot of the young fellas who have been around now and played a few games have got to start winning a bit of it. The midfield possession count stands at 112 to Carlton, 84 to the Crows. Second half about to get underway.
That is where the Blues need to pick it up, Gary. They trail by 35 points entering the third quarter. McKernan into the ruck. Bigland's there. Advance inside 50 for the Blues. Whitnell got a bad bounce. Smart, his direct opponent, mops up in defence. Out to another man that's had plenty of it, Bode. On the left boot, beautifully sizes up his options. McLeod, the free-running McLeod. Spent 5 minutes on the bench, has been getting plenty of it. Burton will fly. Murphy was equal in the air. Mansfield, McKay, slick, quick hands. Lappin from defence.
Kicking to where he'd like to be, a little bit closer to goal. Freeborn just inside the line. First goal important for momentum in the second half. Whitnell almost takes Edwards with him, gives off to Bradley. Wobbly kick under it, taking the mark Davies. Bassett holds him up. Handball on Houghton. Edwards down Hart. And McLeod with some room down the middle. Chance to bounce all the way. Goes with a long pass. Burton's on the lead. Murphy takes him under the ball. Back of the pack. Rashudo. Forward pocket. Centering high ball. Shell. Another lead. Welch. He got over the top of the guy who got over the top of Burton.
Yeah, he read it really well. Knew that Rashudo was going to try and bring that ball back towards the centre of the ground. And again, that run through the midfield, I think I said 112 possessions to Carlton midfield. It is 112 to Adelaide, and Shea kicked the goal. Welsh just taken over, boys. Sorry.
He wasted no time.
Well, you can do the comments now if I'm going to do the calling.
They're up to their biggest lead of the game so far, 41 points.
Welsh has kicked too, Gary.
He has, boys. Sorry about that, but he's been good up there. He's provided a nice foil for Shell. And he's often been asked to play as a full forward, as Scott Welsh, but he's playing now as a mobile half forward and looks far more dangerous. And it's more of the same at the moment. The second half started pretty well the way the first half finished.
Dwayne identified their midfield as one of the best in the league. And certainly the midfield of Adelaide have come out and displayed their worth, but the forwards are looking so dangerous for the Adelaide Crows at the moment. Plenty of options. McLeod, another centre clearance, drilling ball. Burton on the lead will mark in front of Murphy. Burton has marked the ball well within range, just 35 metres out. Kicked one in the first quarter. Has had the ball presented pretty well. There are so many options, as I mentioned, up forward for the Adelaide Crows, Burton being one of them.
And getting a bit desperate, Carlton. Justin Murphy now playing down in the back line, 5 marks to Burton, and he's been dangerous from the very first minute of this game.
Indeed he has. Brett Burton, a former Woodville West Torrens player, comes in, 35, kicked it across the face. Christou got some work to do. I think Stevens has marked it right on the line. Golompo said no. It'll be a minor score. Let off there for the Blues.
Well, even though he didn't mark it, I mean, that's almost 3 or 4 times now that marks have been taken on the last line of Carlton's defence. They have to get better. So the big men got to push down there and at least force the footy through for a rush behind rather than see that situation unfold.
And Christou uses his full quota of time. Now down the corridor. Dangerous ploy. Big pack flies. Adelaide has been doing the best of the crumbing. Murphy to Plunkett. Now to Lappin. Again getting possessions at half-back. Freeborn through traffic, long kick towards half forward, but getting back Bassett. Dominant everywhere on the ground at the moment, Adelaide. Bode chipping it across half back, and now Johnson free after having a superb first half, still loose in the second. Long kick, Doughty. Murphy moved on to Doughty now, and Doughty getting a possession on him.
Craig Bradley walking through the middle of the ground at the moment. He would be 40 or 50 metres away from an opponent.
Burton, big leap, can't bring the ball down again. Stevens, check side, Banana, call it what you like, but you can call it a goal.
The Duracell Alkaline Battery, long-lasting with lots of bite. Duracell Copper Top, long-lasting alkaline.
The Adelaide Crows on fire. Third quarter action have kicked the only 2 goals. Walsh and Stevens, the multiple goal kickers there. McKernan, Biglands, Camporelli got some of it. Kicked it forward, Whitnell and Smart, one out. Smart will arrive. Boundary line will as well. And we'll have a boundary throw in. Oh boy, they're dangerous at the moment, the Adelaide Crows. Coming off a loss last weekend. And we've got the boundary throw in. About to take place. Rashudo lurking over the back, looking for that one from Smart, but Whitnell made sure the body was in front and it could only go forward. Eventually, Rashudo got it out the back. John Cock. I think I haven't seen him at all today. That may be his first touch. Kick, Stevens, Christou, McLeod. Tries some soccer skills. McKay with an aggressive tackle on McLeod. Dispossessing, but no resultant free kick. Ball up.
I reckon there was a free early, then to McLeod, and then there was a free against him straight afterwards. So the umpire, I reckon, has realised he's missed the first one, so he squared up by not playing the second one. That is a free kick.
Had prior opportunity, you think, Gary? Just?
Yeah.
We expect McLeod and players of his ilk to be able to get rid of it a lot quicker than some of the bigger, slower players on the field. Ball in the midfield. And another pack forms, and once again, the Adelaide Crows players hailing cabs. They all had their hand up. No one got it out. Free kick to the Crows.
Correct call. Davies was just hovering over the ball there and protected by another Carlton teammate on top of him, Dwayne.
Guess who's got it?
Johnson. Brought his own ball. Gives it to Edwards. They have got loose men everywhere. Doughty inside 50. Ball doesn't bounce kindly for him. And it's out of play, and it's really just the shape of the ball that beat him rather than a Carlton defender. Houlihan, Manton, Pickering and Gallagher on the pine. And they might get a bit more pine before the season's out, this Blues outfit.
Adelaide players queuing up front and centre of that boundary throw-in contest. Just no accountability there for Adelaide. Craig Bradley waving his arms around there just off the ball at the moment. You can't see on screen. Quite frustrated by the whole scene. And he's directing traffic, pointing this way and that way. Too many options to cover. Prosciutto, the third man up in the boundary throw-in contest. Christou, once again, hovering over the top of the ball and lucky not to be pinged.
Well, the scary thing is that no one responded to the urgings of Craig Bradley. He had Bode on his own, Dougherty on his own, John Cock lurking around on his own, and no one was really going to them.
Well, look, he's still pointing. Bradley covering off two of them at the moment. Houghton doing the ruck work. Ball will go back to the boundary. It's disgraceful.
And it's actually amazing, Brian. We didn't have the shot of it, but he's there trying to work out who has got a particular opponent, and they just looked at him and no one to go man up.
They're absolutely incredible. Total possessions, Adelaide 187, Carlton 161. So they've had enough of it, Carlton. Just not effective enough. And the loose running players of Adelaide have been a lot more dangerous. Lucky kick by Plunkett has found Fletcher. Raises the eyebrow on Dwayne Russell as Fletcher kicks a long ball. McKernan direction. Over the top, Biglands was good. Freeborn, front and centre, but Stenglein smother. Results in the Goodwin pick up with a fast hands John Cock. High tackle Kranich. Free kick Carlton.
You claim I've only got one eyebrow, Brian. Fletcher to Christou. Now wide. Camporelli lurking. Can't get on the end of it. Gets crunched. Within 5 minutes of the ball, Whitnell hard. Beaumont picks up half forward. Smart's got him. Eccles tries to get it inside 50. Works it wide. Bradley's got it. Forward pocket. Thought about playing on. Chips it to Whitnell. Big mark, Bixley. And the Crows are away. They are dominating everywhere. McKay, McLeod, Beaumont. Now Eccles again. Chance to start it all again. Inside 50, McKernan. Final.
Forgettable passage of play, wasn't it? Craig Bradley making a mistake on a turnover go to Lance Whitnell. Picked off by Bickley eventually, and then he turned it over, kicked a 2-on-1. Andrew McLeod is good. He can't be expected to beat two every time. Ball finds its way back in the hands of this man, Corey McKernan, whose first shot at goal was also largely forgettable, but since then he's been pretty good. Got 2 goals in the second quarter.
The 48-point lead the Crows hold is the biggest lead of the game so far. Can McKernan start a run? He can. McKernan has 3.
I'm a chartered accountant in an accounting and administration role. I actually joined the Army Reserves, and that was my way of doing something physical. It was just something that seemed to offer some potential change in lifestyle. There are many highlights. The one that comes to mind the most is when I went to Hawaii, flying over the Hawaiian coastline in Black Hawk helicopters. I'll live with those memories forever.
McKernan responding with his third goal. Swung straight into the ruck as well. Fletcher pushed off the ball. Lots of Adelaide players. Bode picked up. Little chip kick, gained 20. Stenglein, Prosciutto, Biglands. Intelligent soccer off the ground. Couldn't possibly have picked it up. McKay diving to ground. McLeod appealing for the out-of-bounds deliberate. Dubious at best. Umpire has paid it. Thought maybe he was a little bit too far from the boundary line to be penalised. When you look at that, perhaps the umpire was right. McLeod kick to the lead of Stevens. And he is marked in front of Christou. Just out of range. 55 to 60 metres. Had Edwards on, ignored that, and will just pop it at the end of the square, the danger spot. Welsh got obstructed in his run. Burton had a crack at it. Picked up by Goodwin, left foot snap. Missed the lot. No woodwork involved there. Out of bounds on the full.
Justin Murphy to receive the free kick, back pocket for the Blues. I noticed in his player profile today, Murphy says, when asked his motto, says he doesn't believe in mottos, which is in fact a motto in itself. He chips it. The comedy of errors continues, and around the body Welsh finds Prosciutto. And it's getting embarrassing now.
Well, it is, and this Carlton crowd have got every right to feel a bit disappointed at the moment because they're not getting great value for money. I don't think they're working hard enough, Carlton, as a collectively that is. And it's just a tiniest hint of resignation that has snuck into this once proud footy side, and that would be what is frustrating their supporters more than anything.
Well, they would have come out after half-time believing they could win, but you can see the doubt within them now. They really don't believe they could win this game, especially if Rashido puts this through for his fourth. Starts it right, brings it back. It's beautiful.
They're working really hard here from the defensive 50. Finds some space in the open. Spears out a slick hand pass. Oh, champagne football. They're away again. This is beautiful to watch.
Carlton draft, thanks.
He couldn't believe he got straight through to me. He thought he'd get a computer.
If you'd rather speak to a real person, call Amy on 13 22 44.
48-point lead to the Adelaide Crows, third quarter. They've kept it tidy this year, Carlton, with the exception of that Sydney blowout here at Optus. 78 points, the margin there. Other than that, it's been pretty good. But this is looking a little dangerous at 48. Free kick Adelaide's way, Biglands. You get the feeling the gates are about to open as Biglands drives. Sitting himself in the spot there was Welsh. Stevens, in fact. He's marked. That ball's in the air a long time. No one within 10 metres.
I want to see the behind the goals. I want to find out why Ange Christou was 15 or 20 metres away. He goes crook here, Ange, about a holding, but well, there he was. He sat on his backside. Ange, there you go. You find the answer out with those camera angles. So Ange claims he was held.
Stevens lines up for his goal number 3. The Adelaide Crows have kicked 4 goals in 14 minutes in the third.
Is back. Game over.
The margin continues to increase. 54 points now, and still plenty of time left in the third, and McLeod gets another possession. We wonder sometimes if this is just a replay of what we've been seeing earlier on. Murphy gets in front finally, and you can hear the cheers from the Blues faithful.
They are Bronx.
From the back pocket, McKernan, the one shining light, rises. Can't mark. Biglands, fresh man, slap back to McLeod. Over the top to Bowe. From 50, long hoist of the ball. And it's just scraped in for a behind.
And Christou wanders off to the bench. They are lining up at the moment. It is as simple as that. Lining up just to see who's going to get the next shot at goal.
Bowe just had options everywhere, didn't he? Yep. He elected to go it alone, but he had 3 or 4 options on that would have presented a definite set shot at goal. He ignored those. Carlton have almost thrown the towel in here. Murphy, short ball, finds his target there in Eccles. For McCrow, out wide Fletcher. The run, Beaumont on the little left foot. It was cute, far too cute for this situation. Houlihan mopped it up and made it look good in the end. Mansfield presents and found Davies deep on the boundary line. Centering ball, Plunkett. Plunkett has marked 35 metres out. Not much angle in it.
No. And well, Jim Plunkett's been okay, but the statistics don't tell the story about this, because getting a kick out there today, he's got a bit of blood, Jimmy, so he's wandering off. But they don't tell the story, the stats, because you're going to get the footy the way this midfield situation is. It's what you do with it and where you get it and how hard you run for it that really will determine just what sort of influence you've had on the game. But the scoreboard says that whilst the Carlton midfield have got plenty of footy, they haven't had enough influence. Dr. Peter Larkins, how bad's Jimmy Plunkett?
Not too bad, Gary, but Carlton got a $3,000 fine last week over the Lance Whitnell blood rule, so they're going to be pretty sensitive today to that. So just a little scratch on the knee. He'll be back in 2 minutes.
McKernan's taking his kick. He has kicked 3 himself, Corey. And this would make it 4. No hope. Fly on the line. John Cobb has been saved for the second half. Obviously, I thought there may have been something wrong with him. In the air, Stevens, Walsh, quick hands, Bode. Good in the tight confines. Another handball, missed the running John Cobb. Opportunity here for the Blues. They hold it up. Bickley was bowled over by Freeborn. Beaumont's in there working hard. Uncontested possession so far. Adelaide 89, Carlton 69.
This is the critical time in this match, whether Carlton just lie down here and accept an 80 to 120 point loss, or whether they dig in and try and fight this out to its conclusion. I mean, it might determine whether they do in fact win the wooden spoon the next 10 minutes.
McKay, close to the boundary, content to take it out of play with a handball well disguised, but they will be pretty happy just to see the three-quarter time siren sound, the Blues, and regroup. But plenty of time left in this third term. Bradley, quick fire handball over the top. Pickering, McKay, Camporelli, inside 50. McKernan, half volley, couldn't quite get it to Davies. Slaps it out, but John Cock was waiting for it. Kick smothered by Davies, who dived at it. McLeod, they just have the numbers. Half wide again, John Cock. Third effort in this string of play, and out of play on the outer side now in bright sunshine.
It's got to start somewhere, and that there might be the first indicator. Someone has to make a bit of a stand. Someone's got to show that they are not prepared to accept what's going on, and that, from a young kid in James Davies, may be the very first step on the way back.
Murray Bushranger, the former, Justin Davies, McKay, kick, pushed off the boot. Scrappy affair, Freeborn in there, waiting is Gallagher. Lots of hands going in the air, appealing for the free kick.
Who's James Davies?
Well, he
Essendon.
might be a relation. As we see Stephen Kernahan and Wayne Britton in the Carlton box. What can they do to stem the flow of goals going Adelaide's way? 4-1 in this third quarter as we speak. Freeborn from the standing start delivers forward. Look at the numbers getting back. Dowdy marked on the checks, and now they all peel off and look to get it to the opposite side of the ground.
Not the first and last time you'll see that little graphic up in the left-hand corner of the screen.
With Mark Fletcher on the wing. Held up by Goulburn. Spearing ball, middle of the ground. Andy McKay marches to 60. Inside 50. Good mark's been taken about 45 from goal by Corey McKernan.
I don't know, just the last 2 or 3 minutes there's been a little bit more purpose. I think Andrew McKay started to win a fair bit more footy. 6th mark for Corey McKernan, playing as a ruckman come forward. And who knows, it's just a little sign that they are going to dig their heels in a bit here, the Blues.
McKernan lining up, you can see the angle on your screen. Good probability that he'll kick it. He already has 3. It's a long climb back for the Blues, but there's one run.
I'll just look that up for you. Yes, I can help you with that.
Yeah. Straight.
For a great lineup of communication services, choose Primus Telecom.
Indeed, the timing of Corey McKernan looks to have come back. Knocks the ball down. Bradley, Camporelli, been quiet, playing with an obvious injury to that right thigh. High ball to no one in particular. Whitnell, smart enough to work towards the ball. Smart. Happy birthday to him for last Tuesday. 33 years of age, Nigel Smart, as Houlihan sees the ball over. In fact, a 49-point lead. Got out to 54 at one stage of this quarter. 49 it is now. Whitnell, Smart, Whitnell, knocked down. Bradley needs to get rid of it quickly. Camporelli, Freeborn, who will go? The latter, Freeborn. McKernan has marked again. Opportunity for goal number 5 for the big fella.
It's good to see. It's really good to see. We know what he's been through. We know how badly out of form he can be, as we've all been there. And to see it come back, the timing, and it just gives it would give him great confidence to be able to walk with his head held high back to the mark here, knowing that he's having an impact on this game of footy.
McKernan lining up for goal number 5. 45 metres out. There's the probability factor. The vice-like grip of Corey McKernan looks solid. That one drifting slightly. Could have quite easily ended up with 6 goals today, Corey McKernan.
I reckon that's 3, that he's missed the first one off to the right. He's missed that one there, and then he also had one that didn't even make it. So he should have 7 on the board.
Bradley can't spoil Stengline. Dying stages of this third term. We are into time on. Stengline takes his full quota of time. Gets the hurry up now.
He's in trouble here.
He is in trouble. They'll take it off him. He gets it away. High towards the wing. Whitnell flies. Forced to punch. But down to Rashudo. Hart. Ball bounces kindly for him. Gets around Mansfield. They're all running. Little knock on by Walsh to McLeod. Marches his way inside 50. Drop punt towards the goal square across the face of a Hart.
Well, the sun is getting lower here and the shadows are casting longer, and it is getting very cool on what has been a splendid day in Melbourne as Beaumont has got the ball on the defensive 50 line. For the Blues, it has been all McKernan in this quarter. He's kicked their only 2 goals. Plunkett, other than that, the Crows have banged on 4.
But there has been a bit of resistance, which is important. They have just stemmed the flow a little bit and been able to hit the scoreboard themselves.
Beaumont, indeed, Gary, it looked like it was going to be a real blowout at one stage. Whitnell coughed up a mark he probably should have taken in the end. Free kick will go Adelaide's way. No advantage there. Umpire Kelsey will say, bring it back to the birthday boy, Nigel Smart, 33 years of age and playing a really good game on one of the leading forwards in the game, Lance Whitnell.
Ryan Houlihan not having the greatest of afternoons.
Stevens, corridor, Hart. As Houlihan runs to position to try and pick up, and he stands the mark for Hart now, holds him up. Edwards still in the corridor. Every Carlton player on the defensive side of the ball bar Lance Whitnell. Long drop punt, and there's still space for a Crow to get away. Bode into a hole.
That's a non-committed flood, would you say, Gary?
Look, it is amazing to think you've got 17 players in a half of a ground, and a small player like that can still mark uncontested. He got in behind the numbers, and I've got, as much as I hate to say it, Craig Bradley down as his opponent, and I don't think Braddles is working hard enough defensively at the moment.
This kick to extend the lead to the biggest margin of the game, 55 points. Drop punt, not bad off the boot, doesn't bring it back enough. It's only a behind.
Free kick's been paid here while the umpire is signalling the goal. It's against the Adelaide Crows, and a 50-metre penalty will go with it. Stengline or Shell, I think it may have been against Wayne, so Murphy will get the free kick.
To Camporelli to Murphy. Well, that's a way of getting possessions to make it look like you had a good game in the paper tomorrow. Middle of the ground, Gallagher. Long bomb. Where's Corey? He's the target. He rises. Back of the pack. Edwards. Once again, the Crows to mop up. Just gets the handball away in time to Doughty. Wide ball by him to McLeod. 9 possessions. McLeod 9 this quarter. Close to the boundary line, and it's out of play on a cloudless day in Melbourne. At the moment, the sun's shining mainly on the Adelaide Crows in the shadows of three-quarter time. Kane Johnson on screen, the major possession getter of the game. He has been superb with 21.
Whitnell looking for support from behind. None was arriving, so he had to compete for the ball. Kane Johnson, McLeod loves getting it at full stretch on the run. Long handball, Rashudo, fast hands, Bode. The left-footed Bode. Kick, looking for the lead there of Burton. Murphy had him tied up pretty well. It's just a little bit of urgency. Perhaps your sense, as Gary mentioned, creeping back into the Blues, knowing they were looking at an absolute poleaxing there at one stage during this quarter when Adelaide opened up with the first 2 goals.
There he is, Matthew Bode, who's Craig Bradley's opponent. He's had a very good afternoon indeed. Carlton have been good around clearances. They lead 11-6.
Ball back into play. No one can quite break free with it, and we'll get another bounce. 50 points the margin, and we've got just over a quarter of football remaining. Umpires for this afternoon's game have been pretty much unobtrusive.
Been good this year, the umpires, I reckon.
They have. I agree with you there, Brian. Whitnell in defence, knocks it down to Johnson. Another possession. We probably count that. We've got to push, so he'll get one regardless from outside 50. Kane Johnson. Adelaide Crows held on to him after there was talk at the start of the year he could be moving in the not so distant future, but such an important part of this lineup, the midfield superstar brigade of the Adelaide Crows, and what disappointed Carlton faces they were. Johnson from outside 50. That's a long drop punt in the direction. Big mark on the goal line, Stevens.
Well, I'd love to know how many marks have been taken by Adelaide forwards within 2 metres of their own goal line, which is just unforgivable in modern day footy.
Stevens wastes no time, as if scores were level and there were seconds to go, straight through the middle.
The Duracell Alkaline Battery, long-lasting with lots of bite. Duracell Copper Top, long-lasting alkaline.
The Adelaide Crows by 56 points, nearing the completion of the third quarter. Ball up again. Crowd a little stunned here, very silent. You get the feeling they might start to vacate their beloved reserve seats shortly. Biglands. It's early, I know, but there's not much hope in sight. Bode clearing it out of the middle. Shell in front of Livingston has marked.
It is hard to find one. Well, Corey McKernan probably is the only player for Carlton who would be winning his position at this particular point of the game. Contested marks inside 50, 8 to Adelaide, 3 to Carlton.
Short ball over the top, Johnson. Everyone was caught napping.
Righto, that's it. That is it. They've just given up.
And Johnson, of all people, to leave alone.
Johnson, who's just been a ball magnet, they have stopped thinking. Carlton, they've just stopped thinking. That example there, the Bode example that we saw before, the mark on the line by Mark Stevens, you can draw no other conclusion than this Carlton's side have just stopped thinking.
At the 30-minute mark, Gary Lyon says, in other words, the white flag has been raised. Surrender. Johnson, is that the way you see it, Gary?
What other conclusion can you draw when you see players wandering into that situation? And I'm not saying instantaneously. I mean, it's after time. And what they do is they think about the problems they've got and how bad it is and the week at training and, we're going to cop it in the press today, tonight, tomorrow. And they forget about the moment. And the moment is, only 5 minutes ago, I thought they'd dug in a little bit and started to show a bit. But then it just occupies their mind. They stop thinking about what's at hand. As Kane Johnson wanders off, he's got blood poisoning.
Good ploy by the Blues. Someone's run out a red texter and run a line down Kane Johnson's arm. Massey replaces him. It's the only way they'll get Kane Johnson to stop getting the ball. Murphy to kick in from fullback. Virtually seconds remaining in this third term. Big long kick in the McKernan direction. Biglan's with him. Both get a hand on the ball. McKernan. But Bode mops it up. Once again in the congestion well. Quick fire handball there by Nelson. Cut off. Wide ball. High ball. Houlihan. Eccles. Just a kick and hope. Bradley. Good mark. 55 from goal. You can see the time on your screen. It might beat him. He obviously doesn't know. Still doesn't know. Inside 50, they've been beaten. Eccles on the siren with a wrestle on behind play. Now Eccles hasn't been given the kick and it's on behind play. Bradley on screen disappointed. There's the fracas.
and not much going right for the Blues. Craig Bradley milked every second of that last 9, and just when the siren was about to sound, which would have meant that he could go back and have a long shot at goal, he decided to go short, and the siren went and the ball was in transit. So nothing going right for Carlton. Three-quarter time, it is the Adelaide Crows comfortably by 57 points, and this was just off the ball as the siren went. A little bit of push and shove. Too much damage done, I wouldn't have thought. Brian Taylor, our resident expert
on the biffo
in blues.
That was good. Just a bit of a dance, and we like to see that. We need a lot more of that sort of passion coming from the Carlton side. Gary Ayres, Mark Nicken there. They've got a lot to do. At three-quarter time, it is all the Adelaide Crows as Wayne Britton enters the arena with Kernahan. They trail by 57 points, the Blues. Adelaide 15-10, 100. Carlton 6-7, 43.
Tonight, an airline with one of the world's worst safety records suffers another catastrophe, this time off Taiwan. And 7 people wounded when a gunman opens fire at a Sydney wedding reception.
Almost 20 k's over the speed limit.
40-ton missiles.
118.
And 115.
Making a mockery of the speed limit time and time again.
The speed limiters have been tampered with.
Nissan presents a current affair Monday.
Why stick to a home loan with a 25-year term when with a Latitude home loan, you can own your home in just 8 short years?
That's more like a savings and loans.
Things that make it go.
McDonald's new taste menu now has the tandoori chicken burger, marinated chicken and crispy lettuce, with sauce of mint and the taste of yogurt, all on toasted naan bread.
Things that make it go, mmm.
They say if you put butter on a cat's paw, he'll always come home. Well, this cat's found his way home from Spain.
Hi, this is Martin Catalini, and I'm back for the Pure Milk 36ers, and I can't wait.
A season ticket is the best way to see the NBL champions in every game at the lowest price from the best seats in the house. We'll be back bigger and better than ever. Not that size is everything, you know.
It's always you little guys that say that.
Adelaide Pure Milk 36ers, NBL champs. Season tickets on sale now. 8444 6444.
Get the whole picture with a widescreen television from Radio Rentals. Sport, your favourite shows, and even Radio Rentals ads will take on a whole new look. LG widescreen TV, just $29.65 weekly rental, or be one of the first to have a Sony widescreen digitally integrated TV at just $36.40 weekly rental. Plus, rent or buy any widescreen TV and receive a $100 gift voucher, and get $100 trade-in off any working remote TV. Radio Rentals, we know our stuff.
You're round, mate.
What? Mate, there's no need to shout. Really? I'll just get one for myself then.
Been paid out lately? Keno, with over 43 million paid out a year, you could win it by the minute.
It's been a tough match, but at the business end, there's no stopping them. They're looking the goods. Oh, beautiful tap on. They're away. This is sensational to watch. A real premiership performance.
Carlton draft, thanks.
There's never been a better time to buy a new or used car than during Main North's massive Thumbs Up sale. We've got Thumbs Up deals on brand new Nissan, Daewoo and Renault. Thumbs Up to brand new Pulsar with racy 1.6 litre motor, aircon and driver's airbag from $19,990. Thumbs Up to Daewoo Lanos with air, power steering and free care from $13,990. And thumbs up on the complete Renault range from Adelaide's only Renault dealer. Plus, there's thumping big deals on a top range of quality used cars. It's on right now at Main North's new and used Thumbs Up sale.
I didn't know you taught a course in terrorism.
For Professor Michael Faraday, conspiracies are discussions for his classroom.
That's a pretty frightening subject.
But what he's about to discover, the people he considers friends,
this project is taking forever,
have something to hide.
Are you listening?
Your neighbor is a terrorist.
Jeff Bridges, Joan Cusack and Tim Robbins.
Gotta get everybody out of the building. If you don't calm down.
The bomb in the van!
I don't know if I can guarantee you safety.
Arlington Road premieres tonight on 9.
This AFL coverage proudly brought to you by Primus Telecom, Amy and Duracell.
Optus Oval here, three-quarter time. And these are a beautiful set of numbers if you are an Adelaide Crows supporter. 15, 10, 100, 57 points in front of Carlton, 6, 7, 43. Not a lot to look forward to from a Carlton point of view. Wayne Britton was animated at three-quarter time. I don't apportion all of the blame certainly at that man's feet. He's got a list of players that have obviously missing some big names, some big stars, and some young blokes that don't quite seem up to it at the moment, and some other middle-range players who appears AFL football may have gone past them. But what they do want now, the Carlton supporters, to find a little bit of fight, a little bit of spirit, a little bit of heart, and perhaps win the quarter. And at three-quarter time, he was, as I said, animated, just trying to squeeze something out of a group of players that have been pretty well shell-shocked today. Let's go down to Michael Roberts on the boundary.
Thanks, Gary, and I've got Mark Mickham with us. What was the message at three-quarter time? 9 goals up, you take that every day.
Yeah, we will just make it a four-quarter effort and to win our first four-quarter game for the year.
Now, a few problems with Carlton. They're not picking up, are they?
Well, that's up to them. We've been first to the ball. We're pretty happy with our aggression, and that's been good for us.
And Gary, for the second time in a week, a coach has been booed at three-quarter time.
Michael Roberts there at ground level. Thank you to him and Mark Mickham, one of the assistant coaches there. 57-point Adelaide lead entering this last quarter. Up they go, Biglands down to Johnson, the man of the moment, out to McLeod. Has had plenty of it. Kick to the lead. Shell couldn't mark. Tyson Edwards, McKay will have to arrive quickly. Does. Goes to Rashudo. Lucky ball. Rashudo has kicked the goal. In fact, he has kicked his 5th goal.
Way too easy. Way too easy. And well may you smile, Mark Rashudo. You've had that sort of an afternoon. You've won yourself hard footy and you worked hard for hard goals. Every now and then one of these ones just bob along. Nice little kick off the ground. And we'll see a bit of that in the upcoming World Cup. Centre from the corner. Through he goes. Had a good afternoon, Mark Rashudo. 5 goals. Straight, in actual fact, against quality opposition.
This is only the Blues' second home game at Optus Oval this year. They played the Swans earlier this year and lost 19 goals to 4. It's currently 16 goals to 6 Adelaide's way, and the Crows will get another takeaway. McLeod. Easy handball up to Bode. They're just fiddling with it at the moment, just having a mess around, a bit of a party. And it might be holding the ball, umpire Ray Kelsey. Oh, that's a beautiful signal. Free kick to Plunkett. Official crowd 17,100, but I'm not sure that they're all still here. Ball to the half-forward flank. Davies might inspire some sort of comeback. Over the line on the full though. No, a behind. So no comeback starting just yet.
Biggest win Adelaide have enjoyed over Carlton since coming into the competition. Round 1, 1994 at Footy Park. 66 points. The bloke called Modra kicked 13 goals.
Yep, the much feared Optus Oval, not so anymore. 2 interstate sides coming here this year, and it looks like it will be 2 victories for those interstate teams. Dwayne's already mentioned the Sydney game, and Adelaide here today as Bickley has got the ball on half-back. Whitnell stands the mark, losing the sun here very quickly. Starts to get a little dark as Plunkett attacks the ball. He was tackled by McLeod.
A lot more accountable at the moment all over the ground. It looks like they've got an opponent now, each of the Carlton players, and they are sticking pretty tight to them. Final quarter's 1 for the year. Adelaide 4, Carlton 2.
Biglands, the backhanded knockdown. Bradley got a piece of it. McKernan, who has been very respectable today. No doubt about that. 4 goals. Corey McKernan, Cranich, fast hands. Plunkett hit Ben Hart right in the scone. Accidental, of course. Freeborn scrapping for the ball. Applies the tackle. And it will be a ball up.
I reckon it'll be about 10 degrees out there at the moment, Brian. And that hurt. Have a look at this. He's still in the hands of the trainers, Benny Hart, but he'll be right. He's had a good afternoon.
He's awake now, at least. Some have gone to sleep here. Smart tackles, and we'll get a ball up just inside 50 for the Blues. Lance Whittle and Smart, one of the better one-on-one battles of the afternoon. 106 to 44. It's been a hammering, and the Blues on the bottom of the AFL ladder, and after St Kilda's win last night, might be there for a while. Smart hoists it high outside 50. Bradley and Bode. Davies half held. Houghton, Pickering inside 50. Full forward mark taken. Whitnell.
That was a great kick. Great kick from Adam Pickering. Just saw the space, almost willed Big Lance to run into that space there by straightening himself up as he went forward. And he's one that could put his hand out for his pay packet today, Lance. He's kept at it, worked pretty hard.
Has kicked one, drop punt, starts it right as they all do. Lance has kicked two.
Series 2 for the driver in you.
Whitnell kicking that second goal. When Carlton go on to lose today, it will be a parallel start to the season in 1998 when they were just one win and 8 losses after round 9, and in 98 they eventually finished 11th on the ladder. It has been a shocking 2002 start. Their only victory coming in round 3 against Collingwood when they won by 20 points. See the kicks for the match there. Adelaide have had enough of that area. And the marks, they lead there as well. And the contested marks would be a handy start for the Crows as well. They've done it up forward. The handballs, they lead that department. Plunkett tries to kick it out of the middle. Heavy traffic. Whitnell crashes through, bounces off. Good play, Lance. Got it to the other red-headed Plunkett. Plunkett lines him up and drills it home for his second.
Well, the reason that everyone claps so heartily is because that sort of vigour and intent has been missing throughout the afternoon. We haven't seen anything like it. Jimmy Plunkett was involved initially, but look, take the footy, take him on, big body, Plunkett runs on. Still only 3 goal kickers for Carlton. McKernan with 4 and Lance with 2 and now Jimmy Plunkett with 2, but finally a little bit of vigour.
Some cosmetic surgery for an ugly scoreboard for Carlton fans, but the Crows have been superb and Rashudo gets the takeaway. John Cock elected not to take possession, knocked it on to Bickley inside 50. Caught by Mansfield, who's caught by Bickley in turn. Plunkett. John Cock's got him. Pickering. Wide ball. Lappin running the wing. Chip kick. Cranich. Caught. Played on. Hart. Nothing going right for the Blues. Hart long. Rashuto! One grab, 2. Not the third. Mansfield to Plunkett to Freeborn. Straight down the corridor. Whitnell. Players rise. Massey. Got fingernails on the ball. He'd be enjoying this win against his old side. Bode. Camporelli's got him. Back towards Massey. Nelson also enjoying this victory against his old team. Back to Massey again.
On half back, Massey takes it away. Nothing on offer. So he went for the boundary line quite deliberately. Did it well. Gained 30 metres. There are the top 5 hard ball getters in the game. Kane Johnson, what a game he has had. Carlton got 3 in the top 5 there. Just the 3 goal kickers, as Gary mentioned, for the Blues today. Houghton doing the ruck work. Biglands knocked it down. Bode almost threw it. Rashudo, high tackle, advantage paid. Bickley's got it. Clear passage in front, presents. Kick out in front of Stevens is good, who marked. True centre half forward. Stevens himself has kicked 4 goals today. Looks to kick it forward. Got this hit. Burton. The Birdman marks. Christo had just dropped off the back of him and lost his run-up.
Well, if we can get a shot behind the goals of that, you'll see how easy that was for Brett Burton. He gave one lead, which Christou went with, and all he had to do was double back once, and he was able to lose him, and it was just far too easy. Ange lost his touch, lost touch and feel with his opponent. You can't allow this bloke to have a jump at the footy.
Burton comes in looking for his second goal of the game, and he has kicked it.
On Adelaide's National 9 News, is your child prone to tooth decay?
What we're trying to do is prevent that very first cavity from forming.
Monday night, a special report on a simple saliva test that could save a lot of pain. That's Monday at 6.
Almost 20 k's over the speed limit.
40-ton missiles.
118.
And 115. Making a mockery of the speed limit time and time again.
The speed limiters have been tampered with.
Nissan presents a current affair Monday.
Adelaide double the Blues score. Lead by 56 points. Bradley take away, but it's wide. You can't really call it that because Doughty, although it was play on, got the handball away. Pickering, Greenwich, inside 50, McKernan or Whitnell. McKernan led back to the square. Whitnell led wide, and he wants to play on. Thought about it, thought better of it.
Well, queries and question marks are often raised about Lance Whitnell's weight and his fitness, but he's running this game out as strongly as anyone. And he's just a footballer, Lance. He's not an athlete, he's not a runner, he's not a long-distance runner, he's a footballer, a very good one.
The man from Camp Eden puts it through for his third.
I'm a chartered accountant in an accounting and administration role. I actually joined the Army Reserves, and that was my way of doing something physical. It was just something that seemed to offer some potential change in lifestyle. There are many highlights. The one that comes to mind the most is when I went to Hawaii, flying over the Hawaiian coastline in Black Hawk helicopters. I'll live with those memories forever.
No doubt that I believe the Carlton huddle perhaps centred around just winning a quarter of football, and it does appear to have been the case at three-quarter time because they've come out and they've kicked 3 goals to Adelaide's 2 in this final quarter.
I will say Adelaide's forward line setup's changed this quarter, whereas in the first 3 quarters they had 3 or 4 players up on the centre square.
Look at them lining up the middle, Gary.
And they had only two in the goal square. This setup here doesn't seem to have been as effective for them.
Great shot of the way the Adelaide forwards are preparing themselves for when the ball does come in as Pickering marks. Another defensive 50-metre penalty as well to go with that. So that'll bring Pickering right down to the wing. One of the youngsters, Adam Pickering, playing for the Blues. And you look at their young band of players, and certainly with not many games between them, they need a lot more football before they'll be ultra competitive as well. Ball kicked inside 50. McKernan been outstanding today. Smart. Gathers. Plunkett. Always hard. Out wide, John Cock. Handball over the top. Kane Johnson. Surely one of the best, if not the best on ground. Biglands couldn't mark in the air. Even the big fellas running after the loose ball. Kick off the ground. Mansfield went to Shepherd, allowed Beaumont to pick up the ball. But he was still gobbled up in the tackle there and thrown almost into the bench area.
Inside 50s per goal. So how many times the ball goes inside 50 and they score a goal? Adelaide got it below 3. It's a pretty fair effort. Carlton been better after half-time. After three-quarter time.
Good one. Good again. Bogue, kick half smothered by Freeborn. Ricochets to Bickley. Massey. All this on the wing. Kick towards half forward, and McKay gets back. Takes the mark in front of a shootout in front of the Carlton Social Club, where their president, John Elliott, will be sitting and watching this. He might finally get a decent spoon to do his stirring with. Big Jack. Lappin. Camporelli. Did he get paid the mark? No. Hart just overran it. Livingston. Knocked back to Camporelli. Tied up. John Cock and Hart. Just outside attacking 50 for the Crows. The umpire will sort it all out with a bounce.
Yes, and Scott Camporelli doesn't like to be denied a kick, does the number 16.
Correct call.
I don't think that was a mark.
Umpire will ball it up. right on the edge of the square. Favouring the Adelaide end. Plunkett got the ball out of that ball up. Smart put a hand on Whitnell's shoulder as he went to mark. Advantage has been paid. No, Bradley was off and wanted the goal. But Lance Whitnell has got the free kick in the centre square, or just on the edge of. Kicks out wide, finds his man in Camporelli. Little chip kick over the top. Houlihan there, Davies as well. Houlihan now works to the boundary line, spinning pirouette, dropping the ball. And John Cock just make sure that he wasn't going to take any further part in that process.
Ryan Houlihan yet to have a kick this afternoon. 2 handballs. It had no impact on the game. I've watched him for the last 5 minutes. He's gone to the midfield to run with Bickley. He's not working hard enough at all.
Ball close to the line. Smart. Tackled. Ball tied up. Initial play on call, and then the umpire comes in. It's not Ryan Houlihan's most embarrassing day of his life. I read a couple of weeks ago that he once forgot his mother's birthday. Bumped out of play. He'd be disappointed. And the Blues will need to find some answers because they are last on the ladder. And at the moment, a game and a half behind the Saints. Bode. Can't break free, and it's getting a little unattractive at the moment. But Adelaide Crows supporters certainly enjoying every passing second. The ball up clearances. Crows 12, the Blues 6. Tells you the story. The Adelaide midfield dominant again.
Kelsey. Whitnell does the ruck work. Clark just walks around him. Bickley, Massey. Handball out hard. Linking play here. Inboard. Finds Nelson. Handball over the top. They're away. Massey again got on the end of it after starting the initial play. And McKay marks in defence. Goes wide as the Blues run with some numbers. Bradley, their former skipper. Couple of bounces through half-back. Enters the middle of the ground. Chiseling ball. Murphy almost fell over in his attempt to get the ball. Bode. Camporelli was front and centre and running well. Whitnell made space. Smart tries to spoil, but Lance is strong in the air.
He's not the quickest man in the competition, Lance, and his last few marks he leads sideways and a fraction backwards, which is just a player who knows his limitations. He knows he can't outrun Nigel Smart on a quick lead up the ground. So he uses his nous, gets behind him, pushes back into the hole. He's had 9 marks, 4 of them inside 50.
And he's kicked 3 goals, Gary, and that is goal number 4. 2 in this quarter to Whitnell.
The time has come for the event that stops the planet. Channel 9 kicks off coverage of the 2002 FIFA World Cup, beginning exclusively live with the World Cup winners Germany, facing the pride of the Persian Gulf, Saudi Arabia. Then will the mighty Italy serve up a baptism of fire for Ecuador in their World Cup debut. Channel 9's World Cup coverage begins live Saturday, 9 o'clock on 9.
8.5 minutes remaining of ecstasy for Adelaide, of agony for the Blues. Houghton high, Goodwin, handball out Rashido, Johnson another possession. Spearing ball towards Edwards, half forward, couldn't mark. McKay lays the crunching hip and shoulder. Beaumont and Bradley. He has Davies free on the wing, can bounce if he wants to, decides to. Houlihan still might not get a kick. Massey, caught. Good tackle, Davies. Good desperation. Bickley mops up, gives to Johnson. Another kick to him. Rashuto paid the mark. McKay got a fingernail to it. And he's just telling the umpire about it at the moment.
Have a look at just watching Houlihan off the ball.
There you go. That is a
50-metre penalty.
That's frustration, because Andrew McKay is not like that at all. Now, I thought the umpire had given him plenty of opportunities to clamp up. He let him have his say once and even twice. And then Andy McKay went back for another serve. And that's the 50-metre penalty. So that...
Bottle coming over the fence, a plastic bottle coming over the fence there.
Now, they're morons, those people. But that just tells you how frustrating it is when someone who, in the calibre and the respect of Andy McKay, can lose a pot like that.
21st possession Prosciutto comes in to kick goal number 6.
Is back. Game over.
A nice even 50-point lead to Adelaide. Clark now off the bench and into the ruck. Fresh man to Nelson. Now Doughty. Long kick, full forward. And an almost a mark to Burton. Offhand, Stevens snaps her behind.
Gee, they've had some good players, Adelaide. Stevens has been great. Kicked 4 goals. Prosciutto has kicked 6. And then you got those host of midfielders. There they've got some very good players. They've had good afternoons.
News doesn't get any better for the Blues. They have to travel to Subiaco Oval next week and to play Fremantle. That'll be a hard trip in itself. As Livingston tries to gather the ball, pursued by Prosciutto. 6 goals today.
And a big test coming up for the Crowies too. The reigning premiers at Footy Park next week, which will give us some idea of just how far advanced they've come. 6 wins and 3 losses after today's afternoon. That is a great start for Gary Ayres and the Adelaide Crows. They'll welcome Brisbane next week with some confidence.
Yeah, the Carlton faithful just starting to get itchy backsides as they vacate their seats. And not only that, Gary, they've got Brisbane next week at Football Park, Adelaide, but the week after that they play Hawthorn as well, so they're playing 2 sides that are playing good football.
In Melbourne the one after, so it's a big month, Carl. A big 3 weeks coming up. There they go. Let's beat the traffic. It can get a bit tight around here late in the afternoon.
Ball up, centre wing. Houghton has worked hard. He's been undermanned, undersized. Bassett,
been good.
The defender kicks it forward. Flying for the mark there. Nelson regains possession. Handball over the top. Prosciutto close to the boundary line. Centering ball. Spearing past Doughty. Almost juggled his attempt. Houlihan fell over the ball. Edwards went and got it. Bickley handball top. Umpire's whistle is gone. Carlton free kick will go the way of Adam Pickering.
Adam Pickering started on the bench. Camporelli. Stevens with him.
They're not all going home early, the Blue Baggers. Some of them are staying and going to see this out to the bitter end.
Some are staying just to let their team know as they depart the field their thoughts on the performance. Murphy from the wing, bombs it long. McKernan rises, can't mark. Houlihan, can he make some sort of impact? Spearing ball. Lance inside 50, tucked into the pocket. Is within range, you would think. Just not confident.
You think? You take a super kick.
It's got that slight breeze. Has kicked 4. Drives it long towards the goal square. Had the carry. Not the accuracy.
He and Corey McKernan have both been pretty good contributors today for the Blues. They've just been beaten soundly in the midfield. Adelaide just running loose in that first half to set up the win. They were leading by 35 points at half-time, and they were never going to be headed from there as Hart transfers play out wide to Massey, the former Blue. Massey debuted back in 1998. Short ball here. Finds Bassett. Snuck down to kick the 2nd goal of the game today from defence. And here we see him back in his starting position, deep in defence. Chips the ball out wide, just winding down the clock at the moment. Adelaide probably had enough.
Stevens has returned to some form too, which would be pleasing for Gary Ayres and Adelaide.
Kick, transfer of play. Almost complete as Bassett bounces the ball across. Asks Smart to continue. He does it well, Smart. Handball up the middle. Now they need a long kick. Instead they go wide with another handball. John Cock. Ball ends up on the same side, confusing the Blues. Bickley on centre wing. Now does the damage with a penetrating ball. And Burton on the lead, sandwiched between two, has taken a great mark.
It is a great mark, isn't it? He's had a good afternoon as well. marks inside 50 for Adelaide have been 8 contested marks and 9 uncontested. And it helps when you've got a player such as Burton and Shell that are good aerialists. Carlton, on the other hand, have taken 4 contested and 10 uncontested, many of those in this last quarter. But he's had a good game, Brett Burton.
There's the famed Carlton Social Club end, to which Burton is kicking, looking for his 3rd goal. Burton comes in, won't go the journey. Competitive ball, no Adelaide Crows players front and centre. They thought he'd kick the journey as Bradley, on the last line of defence, tidies it up and finds Pickering.
Justin Murphy, wobbly handle to Pickering. He's under pressure now. Nelson dives in, tries to get away with it, can't. Stolen back by Pickering to Houlihan. Back pocket, spear. Whitnell. Smart holds him up. Into the middle to Murphy, who's getting a few last quarter possessions towards Cranage over his head. And the Crows have the numbers. Massey or Bassett. Took a little time to work it out who was going to get it. Massey gets it back again from Doughty. Middle of the field, John Cock. Bode. McLeod. Oh. Everybody, all 18 might get a possession here. Smart, low to the goal, square goal.
Oh, no.
Nigel Smart has kicked one.
Boy, wouldn't he kick one, Nigel. They just lined up and he was in the rotation, so wandered down from half-back. Lance was caught up in the chase. So here's the turner. This is the thing. I mean, don't worry about the rest of it. That's the thing there that would be most disappointing. That is too laissez-faire. No accountability for his actions in situations like that. That's the disappointing thing.
A 56-point lead to the Adelaide Crows. Under 3 minutes remaining in the quarter. Plunkett applying the tackle and Rashudo, more of a headlock. McKay, he was dacked. He just adjusts the strides now. Andrew McKay has been a great player for the Blues over a number of years.
He has, and probably for one of the very few times in his career, I reckon his spirit was broken in this last quarter when he gave away that 50.
Whitnell, Massey, some fancy footwork. Whitnell follows up his own work. Just muscles the ball inside 50 hard. Misjudged the ball badly. Here is another opportunity. He's been wonderful, Gary. Bode. They've got players lining up down the corridor. He'll go short and find his man there. And that is Nelson, the former Blue, out wide. Looking for Massey. Couldn't win it in the aerial recover. And a desperate Pickering saw it over the line, right in front of the interchange area of a boundary throw-in. Mark Bickley just ordering instructions. And the light is disappearing here at Optus fast.
It's been a mainly dark afternoon for the Blues. McKay caught by Nelson, and we'll get another bounce on the wing. The Adelaide Crows continue to push their way up the AFL ladder and be a threat for this year's premiership.
A lot better than people have given them credit for, I reckon, Dwayne.
There's the Blues hierarchy. Stephen Kernahan, Wayne Britton, Barry Mitchell. But once again, it's the Adelaide Crows in possession. McLeod takes on. He can kick a bit of icing here on the cake, and he does drive it through. Andrew McLeod, you are a superstar.
They've got this big win on the board, have the Adelaide Crows, without Andrew McLeod having to get out of, I don't know, he might have slipped it into third gear every now and then. That's not being disrespectful for him, but he's just done it easily today. See that? Keeping your feet is an amazing trait and ability that he's got. He's had a very, very good afternoon, but he's done it all so easily and had very, very little pressure to deal with and contend with.
McLeod extends the Adelaide Crows lead to 62 points. Look at that. They've hit the 20-goal mark. Centre square infringement. That doesn't go the Blues' way either. So it'll be Clark, who started well in the midfield, to Edwards. John Cock. Closing stages of this game here at Optus Oval as John Cock belts it into the square shell. Almost Mark McLeod. Kicked the last. Gives it up this time, Stevens. Turns around. thought about the kick. Went the better handball. Stenglide, Bickley. Little fancy there. A little bit more basics needed. Plunkett extracts the ball out of heavy traffic in the defensive 50 and finds the boundary line with time ticking down.
Adelaide's greatest winning margin against the Blues is 66 points. It's currently 62. A few more departing. McKernan against Clark. Ball slapped down towards John Cock. Just forward of the wing. Handballs backward. And the Blues might get a foray forward late in this game. Bradley to McKernan. Well, it'd be appropriate if the ball's in his hands when the siren sounded. Houlihan back to Bradley. Back to McKernan inside 50. Drop punt towards goal. A high, long goal on the siren. 5 goals to McKernan. Don't be fooled by the goals added to the score. It's a bit like my makeup. It's fighting a losing battle to cover up the massive flaws for Carlton. This has been Adelaide's afternoon. They have been nothing but superb. 20 goals, 11-1-31. The Blues, 11-9-75.
And it has been a belting. Make no mistake about it. And there's, well, there's a couple of older Carlton players coming to the end of some of the best careers you'll ever see that will be walking off the ground now in, well, foreign territory, let's say, on this particular oval in particular, because they've got a couple of big beltings here. They won the last quarter, which is something that they can take out of it, but it's not often that you see Carlton play on this ground and walk off with their heads as low as they have today, and also earlier in the year against Sydney. And Adelaide are a good side. They're pushing to be a very good side. They've got 6 wins and 3 losses, but they reduced Carlton to, well, a genuine bottom of the ladder unit today.
Yeah, they looked a very ordinary outfit, as you see some of the reserve players for the Blues there standing and watching. Anthony Franchina at the back, played in the reserves yesterday. Jimmy Plunkett there, the former Bulldog. And Christou made a couple of bad errors today, but he is one of the main players for the Blues. On the other hand,
these blokes were great. They were terrific. Clark in the middle gave them a chance. Smart didn't do too much. Hart didn't do much wrong. Smart had a good battle with Lance Whitnell. They all were excellent. Michael Roberts is among them.
Tell you what, I've got Kane Johnson here, 31 possessions, and he spent the last 10 minutes on the bench. This is an easy one for you.
Oh, we just needed to respond after last week. We got beat by North Melbourne, probably a game we should have won. So today was all about coming back and showing the way we should be playing, and I thought we did that.
Could you believe how easy you did it, though, to come out like this in front of their home crowd and to do it at Optus Oval? You did it last year in round 4.
Yeah, well, before that, our previous history hasn't been that good. So to come out here and win by, I don't know, 10 goals is a really good effort by the boys, and we just got to look to next week now. What was Airsy's message for you today? Oh, he just wanted us to respond after a poor performance last week. We probably weren't mentally switched on last week, and this week we showed that when we are, what we can do. Great game. Well done, Kane.
Thanks very much, Michael Roberts, the Carlton team. Applause from sections of the crowd. I could hear the odd boo emanating around. Matthew Allen would be a disappointed man. 56 points was the margin. There they are, the Adelaide Crows, sitting pretty in the top 4, you would think, at the end of the day. 2011-131, beating Carlton 11-9-75. We'll take a break and wrap up proceedings here at Optus Oval.
This afternoon on Postcards, lovely Mundu Island Station where the Murray meets the sea, a country hideaway off the track in the Riverland Mallee, and I'm in search of a bargain at the North Arm Market. This afternoon, Postcards on 9.
In the 50s, little sisters were cute. Best friends shared everything. And Fonzie was the king of cool.
Hey, Ralph, I wouldn't do that if I were you, if you know what I mean.
The legend lives.
I know what you mean, Fonzie.
Happy Days, 5:30 weeknights following Looney Tunes.
is back. Game over.
Get the whole picture with a widescreen television from Radio Rentals. Sport, your favourite shows, and even Radio Rentals ads will take on a whole new look. LG widescreen TV, just $29.65 weekly rental, or TAC widescreen TV for just $16.99, save $300 or $14.40 weekly rental. Plus, rent or buy any widescreen TV and receive a $100 gift voucher, and get $100 trade-in off any working remote TV. Radio Rentals, we know our stuff.
The profits from the money you spend on clothing from a Goodwill store goes back into the community through the caring work of the Adelaide Central Mission.
Broken clear, a long 60-metre bomb. Big pack forms in the goal square. Oh, what a grab! What an absolute screamer! Oh, that's got to be grab of the year.
Carlton draft, thanks.
I finished school. I'm doing a Bachelor of Arts. I really like challenging myself, and it's also good just to help out. So I thought, yeah, I'll try the Army Reserves. A weekend would be, you might do bush skills, and I just finished a course where we did forward driving, and we take these vehicles anywhere they can go. I never thought I'd be able to do that. I think it's probably made me more confident, and it's good fun.
Building a playground was meant to be child's play.
This is a dead set disaster.
But for tough guy Scotty, it's his biggest challenge yet.
For the first time, we could be in real strife.
Backyard Blitz, 6:30 tonight on 9.
Tonight on Location, it's Judgment Day for a former Port Adelaide mayor.
We're talking Broadview. We're talking, not far from the city. We're talking it's a very beautiful main road. Under 300,000.
7 o'clock tonight.
They are indeed the pride of South Australia. The Adelaide Crows were ultra impressive today, kicking 20 goals 11, 131, 56-point victors over a hapless Carlton, who remain on the bottom of the ladder with one win from 9 outings, 11 goals 9. And, well, when you look at the goal kickers, Mark Rasciuto, an unlikely hero up forward, played across half forward, got 6, Stevens 4, Burton and Welsh a couple each. And from Carlton, that is all.
Just the 3 goal kickers, McKernan and Whitnell, sensational. The rest, nowhere to be seen.
Well, you speak of sensational. There were plenty of sensational players from an Adelaide point of view, and there's a couple of familiar names that keep bobbing up. Mark Rasciuto, the skipper, was at half forward and was wonderful today. He just competed, provided a target, had the occasional run on the board when Andrew McLeod wanted to spell. He got tough goals, but he also got a couple of nice ones.
Yeah, picked up an easy one there, Gary, but as you say, he worked really hard today, worked really deep. McLeod and the other midfielders gave him great supply. You see Burton on the lead there. He was a focal point. The trouble is they had so many key forwards. McLeod, do you see combining there? He was very, very good today and took on all comers. Their midfield just cut loose, led by McLeod in the middle.
Yeah, Johnson and Bode as well. And from a Carlton point of view, it's not so much you lose, because you can lose games and still take something away, but it was their skill errors and their turnovers that cost them, and from some unlikely sources. Carlton's Craig Bradley, who's been such a stalwart, I guess it's endemic. It goes through the whole lineup, and I mean, you see that situation there, you don't miss by a little bit, you miss by a long way, and it costs you in the end.
The foot skills especially. On the other hand, well, Adelaide made them pay in that area, as you see, pinpoint pass there. Kane Johnson That man there, Stevens, was a focal point, and you see Burton jumping here as Ange Christie almost fell over himself, and the resultant goal.
Yeah, and there was a goal that probably summed up the whole afternoon late in the game. Nigel Smart was the player who ended up kicking it, and it was shared around. It was all the way through from the back line. It was precise, and it was clean, and in the end, when you can run forward like that with such confidence, you know that they've had a pretty good afternoon.
Well, I think at one stage, Dwayne Russell mentioned that just about all 18 players on the ground had touched the ball in that passage of play that saw Nigel Smart kick the goal.
Let's have a look at the AFL ladder now, and this isn't a great sight if you're a Carlton supporter. If you're an Adelaide supporter, well, if you love Adelaide footy, you're pretty happy. You've got Port Adelaide sitting second on the ladder there, and the Adelaide Crows tucked very nicely after 9 games with 6 wins. They are well on the way to playing finals football. A couple of games still in progress, or just the one still in progress, of course, Hawthorn West Coast. And Brian,
Adelaide have got Brisbane next week. Tough game for them, obviously.
Big tough 3 weeks in actual fact, but Carlton, for every one of them, is a tough week.
Absolutely.